Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
How's everybody doing today? Happy Thursday. We've got a couple news stories for you today that are going to, quite frankly, maybe surprise you. I'm not sure if you guys are surprised by corruption anymore, but you should be, because I'm telling you that it is literally getting worse by the moment. We got some breaking news for you here this morning as well. So please stay tuned for that. Hope that you guys are having a good day. We're literally just a couple days shy of Christmas. So of course, we're going to dig into our little gift basket here and hopefully get to some Christmas giveaways a little bit later on in the program. So how is everybody doing? Woosa, what a heat. Lots and lots going on that we're going to bring you guys up to speed with. So first of all, if you missed yesterday's program, you really missed a fantastic show. So, go back and have a listen. The second half of the program, we had our Caribbean Connection Wednesday segment, which we hadn't done in a while. You know, everybody's busy and it's hard to get, professionals sometimes to set aside some time to come on, but they did. And I want to do a big thank you to Mr. Damian Wilson and also Mr. Julian Rogers, both communications and media experts having experience in both private and public sector across the region. It was so incredibly interesting to hear a bit about, Mr. Julian, for example, has 50 years of experience in this space. So he knows a lot, honey child. And it was so good to hear him dissect and give his thoughts on where we are in the world of media. And more importantly, in this specific country, what it is exactly that we are intending to do with public funds when it comes to having media work effectively for the people. And I always want to remind people, right? When you have these individuals, whether it's MPs or they claim, their supporters are in their head about this and that, and let's pick and choose, to say that we're going to fund and overfund a public entity. It's not just about, this is Radio Cayman and we shouldn't care, and who gives a hoot. Listen, this is public funds, which means that this is our money that is being spent. Every single thing that you pay in this country, work permit fees, business licensing fees. We no longer do garbage fees. Somebody was asking me about that this morning. Taxes when you come in and out of this country. All of those things, um, stamp duty, everything goes into the government coffers to try to help them pay for running government. So when we question whether it is things around, employment that is going wrong, the wastage of money as it relates to, just about anything, quite frankly, we all should be concerned about that. It is obvious that some people are more fiscally responsible than others, and some people, they don't care about the fiscal responsibility aspect. They just want to do what they want to do, budget wise. And then, I find it laughable when they say that they have no intentions of running afoul of the FFR, framework for fiscal responsibility, because you may not have any intentions of purposely doing that. But if your actions are so incredibly negligent about how you're spending the people's money, what do you think is going to be the logical end result? Of course, you're going to run afoul of it. What else is going to happen? So, I scratch my head, and this is coming from someone who I'm not a financial expert. I believe in using a little bit of common sense. God tried to give us that when he was handing it out, although we know that it missed a few people. But when you see people who are making moves and making decisions, oh, we need a $50 million school in Cayman Brac, things like that just don't quite add up, and it doesn't make any sense. So I thought it was amazing to have regional partners, um, you know, jump in on the conversation yesterday and lend their expertise to the discussion. I don't know how many of you appreciated really what it took in order to be able to even get them on here. So I want to do a big shout out and a big thank you to them for taking time, like I said, out of their super busy schedules in order to come on and have this discussion with us. I learned a lot yesterday. And one of the observations that I made for myself, and this is where, we all have to take counsel at times from other people, is, oh, sorry, I think I forgot to send out the links. Sorry. Hold on, folks. One of the observations that I made for myself is that, hold on. I sent it to one group. Let me check the other one. Is that, when he said that you have to continually, we got some breaking police news. Hold on, folks. You've got to continually be willing to, educate yourselves and train and retrain. And, you always have to be constantly in that mode, a lifelong learner, if you will. I've always been so supportive of that ideology. And, the interesting thing about it is I have to admit that lately I have fallen by the wayside in terms of that. Now, listen, I have more degrees than I probably could really need. How many do I have? 3, 4. That's yeah. So but it's not about degrees. It's being in a mode of constantly willing to learn. And what that means for me right now, as I was listening to these gentlemen talk yesterday about AI, I have to admit that I'm behind on the whole AI game completely. I don't know really why, to be honest. Well, I do know. Some of it is time. I just haven't had the time to really dive into the world of AI and try to understand it. And before I start using stuff, I like to understand it. I like to understand the implications of it, what it is that I'm doing, the whole 9 yards. But I really haven't had the time. I've been extremely busy. There's a number of I told you guys I've taken on a whole new business, a whole new project, and that's taken up a lot of my time. But that's also no excuse, right? Because even before I was doing that, I was not really on the AI train, so to speak. And so I now have questioned in myself why could that be? And I think if I had to be completely honest with myself, I'm a little bit hesitant about it because I don't really understand it. And so this reinforces what, of course, I know. What you don't understand, quite frankly, you're afraid of. And what you have to do is you have to force yourself to understand it and force yourself to learn it. So I'm trying to, after yesterday's program, I said to myself, why haven't you really embraced AI? As a person who loves technology, I'm pretty tech, I consider myself consumer tech savvy. I'm no expert, but I thought to myself, why haven't you really embraced AI yet? And I can see it seeping into my life, even outside of what I want to do. I see, applications that I use starting to use AI, and it's making them work more efficiently. For example, this show, one of the elements now of the sort of back end platform that I use for the show, has an AI element where it is creating an automatic transcript for the show. So when after the show, I can go back and pull a transcript, like a full transcript of everything that was said in the show. Isn't that amazing? To me, that is like, and I didn't have to do anything, right? And, the developers of the program simply have utilized this AI technology to also make their application better. So the bottom line is I just need to get with the program. That's the bottom line for me personally. And I recognized that yesterday. And so I believe firmly, and once we recognize where we're falling short, that we then have to address those issues and do something about it. So I'm committed in 2024. That's going to be one of my main objectives, to really find some time to immerse myself in the world of AI and to figure out what aspects of artificial intelligence, applications, and so on could be most beneficial to me, and how I can integrate them into what we do here on this platform, and perhaps even just in my personal life, because I was listening very, very keenly yesterday to when our guests were saying that that they were using it for research purposes. And you guys know I'm the queen of research, honey child. I love to do some digging, and I love to do some research. Yeah. So anything that would make my life easier and on that front would be much appreciated. So I'm committed to it. And so, I am going to try to give it 100%. Now, I was also committed to losing 50 pounds last year, and y'all see how that went. Wonk, wonk, wonk. Where's my, yeah, that didn't happen. But you know what? When it comes to goal setting, folks, you don't always achieve it the first time, but that doesn't mean that you give up. So I haven't given up. It wasn't 50 by 50, but it might be 50 by 51. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but you know what? It's not a marketing gimmick. It's about trying to be healthier and making some better decisions and choices. So I'm on board. I'm going to continue my commitment to try to get there. And not everything is a failure, even if you don't achieve your ultimate goal. So I did 5 pounds. Hey, little 2-finger. What I say, this world's smallest violin. This is like the world's smallest applause. So I didn't gain any, and I lost a few. Hey, not quite where we wanted to be, but we're gonna still take it as a partial success story. At least we're on the right path. So we're gonna get there, and that's the thing with goal setting, folks. Don't give up. So we have a live poll. Thank you so much for the reminder. Which poll are we doing these days? This one is in relation to, oh yes, should members of parliament, I think I need to log in though. Do I need to log in to see this? Members of parliament in the Cayman Islands should be entitled to. Why can't I see the rest of the question? Oh, it's a multiple choice. A vehicle and driver for official purpose, a vehicle and driver for regular use, and none of the above. Well, I think the question should be amended, Kevin. I think we should amend the question because we're not talking about members of parliament. We're talking about ministers only. So I don't think, listen, we ain't got no time for 19 people to be getting all these privileges. Let's be very, very clear here. So let's amend that question for ministers of government only. But we know how this works. They're not fooling nobody. So it starts with ministers, and then the next go around, the regular MP is gonna be like, oh well, I'm a secretary. What do they call them again? Oh Lord, what kind of secretary they are again? Parliamentary secretary. And so I be working hard too. I need a driver too. I was saying to somebody last night, kind of tongue in cheek. I was driving home, and I was so sorry. I was so tired. I literally left West Bay after, oh gosh, I think it was close to 10. And I was just really tired. Poor Gigi. She got in the car and immediately she was like falling asleep. And I'm so tired this morning. I was like legit tired. And so I needed to come home and like set up some stuff for today's show and try to get in bed as quickly as possible. Still didn't get in bed until after 12 o'clock. So when I was driving, I felt how tired I was. And so I called somebody, and sometimes I'll do this. Like I know certain people that I can call that are going to be up. I call them, not really because I want to talk to them in a way, but because I need to stay awake. And so having a conversation normally keeps me engaged and awake. And so I called a particular person, and I jokingly said to him, I'm like, oh Lord, I need a driver too. Hook me up with one of those Tahoes and a driver. Yeah. So, so anyway, tongue in cheek, I can understand when you work hard and when you're tired, but you've got to take precautions to sort yourself out. And I have no qualms with these guys having a driver. You just pay for it yourself. That is not something that the people of this country, in my humble opinion, should be paying for. So that's going to be the poll question. But I think we need to change it to cabinet members. Did it say cabinet members the whole time? Or did you just change it? Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't even know. I'm so tired today that it's entirely possible that I'm not even reading this right. Okay. Oh, he just changed it. Oh, thank God. I thought I'm like, wait a minute. I'm confused. Okay. Let me log in here so that I can actually get this done. All right. I don't know why I get this error message when I try to log in. So yes, this is weird. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about what's popping off this morning in terms of in terms of the police. So the RCAPS appear to be extremely busy today. I'm going to put up the question here on the side so you guys can start voting. They're everywhere this morning. Good morning, Leroy. How are you? Thank you so much last night for helping me. Leroy can attest to what time last night I was out on the road. And you all know I'm not a road person. I really don't like to be out and about. But Leroy, I had to stop by the gas station to meet someone to try to rectify a little error. And we had to beg Leroy because the box was so heavy we couldn't lift it ourselves. We had to beg Leroy to give us a hand in lifting the box. So thank you, Leroy. Good morning to Siobhan. I ran into Siobhan yesterday. It was so nice to see you. You know, when we're out and about, it's really, really nice to see people. So yeah, so nice to see you, Siobhan. Looking good, looking good. All right, so here's what we know that is happening this morning. Good morning to everyone. I see all of you here. Vicky says, I'm eating my chicken liver, so my belly full and ready. Oh, Lord. Please don't mention food today because I am kind of hungry, actually. I know what I'm going to be having today. Yummy. All right. So, okay. So here's what we know that's going on. So the helicopter, the national bird, has been up all over the place. West Bay in the early morning hours. Heard of an arrest down Savannah way. Hold on. Let me pull this one up. Oh my God, they've been busy, honey chow. So this person sent a tip. We're not going to give the name of the household, but they said what's happening in Pedro with all of the SUVs, 3, as a matter of fact, and a helicopter circling above. 6 firearm units have left the residence and now have 2 K9 units on location. So there's a particular house in Pedro that is, and this was after 6 o'clock this morning. So it looks like they're hitting y'all before Christmas. Woo, hallelujah. Go on through RCIPS. You do your thing. Listen to me. We can't have it both ways. We're either law-abiding citizens or we're not. So when the RCIPS is out there arresting people for drugs, illegal gambling, whatever they're arresting them for, let them do their jobs, and then we'll see if it all comes out in the wash. So, you know, we support the right thing, regardless of who's doing it, right? And we also don't support the wrong thing, regardless of who's doing that. So go on through. And then now I'm hearing that they're actually in East End. So somebody says 7:43, 6 armed police units fully geared up, hauling their butt to Smith Road, crossed 5 minutes ago, have on the helmets and all the actual SWAT gear. If you hear anything, let me know. Ooh, honey child. Missy. Them busy. Whoa. And then somebody else sent a photo. Let me see where the photo is now. Oh yes, John McLean Drive. The helicopter up there too. Let me show y'all the photo of this one. Oh, streets hot today, missy. Aye. So, wow. This is who we obviously need to give more SUVs to, because the popo is out this morning. West Bay, Pedro, Smith Road. They must have every cop working today. Lord Jesus. So this is what they're doing down John McLean Drive. Hold on. Let me show y'all the photograph. So we don't have anything firm yet on exactly what is going down, but I think it's fair to say that this is quite the operation yet today. So have a look at this. Look at that. Popo all over the place. Go on through, I say. How many units is that? I see 1, 2, 3, at least 4 of the SUVs, FRU. So we can keep an eye out, but all I can tell you is some law enforcing is forcing today. Marshall, good morning. He says people should be concerned about where their money is going and what it's being spent on. First Lady says yesterday was fully packed with very important information. Thanks, Miss Sandy. If not you, then who will? Good morning to Miss Ramelia. She says, good morning, honey Jal. And it says to have a blessed and victorious day in the Lord. Aliana says corruption is not a bug, it's a feature. Ooh, honey child. Oh, that's not a good thing. Good morning to Miss Lucille. She says she's getting ready for surgery for the new year, and she's asking for prayers and wishing everyone a great Christmas. Definitely, Miss Lucille, we will keep you in our prayers, and I think that you'll be just fine, honey child. Leanna says, blessed good morning, Auntie San San. Beautiful Cayman. Our snow is raining outside today. Please keep a safe distance from the other cars in front of you and stay off the phones. Yes, we're getting a little bit of rain here today, it looks like. Nice windy winter day in the Cayman Islands. So please be good. Oh, Mr. Amelia says, is that to stop the bad language? What, my New Year's resolution? No. That is not what is going to happen in the new year. Sorry, Romelia. That's not even on my wish list. Listen, not everybody is offended by the use of profanity. And I'm not in a particular context, right? Y'all know it's coming. It's not every day, but y'all know when it's coming. I warned you. And if you don't want to listen to it, then just don't listen to it. Let me be very, very clear, folks. When I feel like using it, I use it. There are parameters, I don't use it in front of children normally, 99% of the time. And so, it is what it is. I'm so perplexed that those of you who don't want to hear it, yet you be tuned in every single after show segment. Why? Just don't listen. I'm not really saying, I think y'all be in the sneaky links. You claim you don't want to hear it, but then you're still there. You don't have to listen to those segments. Listen, if my Aunt Lottie was still alive, she'd probably want to put soap and water in my mouth, and she wouldn't listen to those segments either. And that's fine. But I'm a big woman now. I'm an adult. I'm not a kid where she could tell me what to do and what not to do. She did that, and it was fine. As an adult, if I want to use a few colorful words, should I not have the liberty to do so? Judge me. I don't care. Y'all will be just fine. In fact, I think I need to expand my vernacular when it comes to those types of words. I think I'm too limited. Right? I got to get more colorful. I got to learn some in a few foreign languages too, so I can be like John, speaking in tongues and languages and stuff. All right. Siobhan says, laughing out loud, no, people want others to stop cussing when there's more important stuff to worry about. You know what is so funny? Somebody reminded me night before last about John, but they said, Sandy, hold on a second now. That brother wants you to stop cursing, but didn't you do an article where he was, as a government minister, at a youth function? Hold on now. And he went around saying to someone how he was going to F them up. Yes, go back to that story. I'd have to find it. But of course, that's exactly what John did. Threatened somebody, which is the offense, and then did it in front of children at a youth function when he was in a ministerial role and not talking about how he got F them up. And now he's like, oh, we don't want you to use curse words. Poor him. He's something not ticking quite right with him, I suspect. I'll see if I can find that article, but we sure did. Because the person actually filed a police report indicating that they wish to have him warned about threats. A minister making threats. He didn't get enough, apparently, of the last time he made a threat to someone, or he threatened someone and tried to beat somebody up when they kung fu'd him into the ground. So this was September the 29th of 2019. This happened. And we actually saw a letter of the complaint. Minister Seymour threatens to F up a local man at an under 17 event. Hot mess. But now I guess he is claimed to have found the church, because we know not Jesus that he found. And all of a sudden now he is, the next best thing after sliced bread. Oh, please. Did y'all hear he's planning on having a party in the new year with all kind of festivities and giving away more money to try and keep those crackheads and drug addicts in Town voting for him because he's desperate to stay in office. Y'all got to find a better way of doing this, folks. This short-sightedness of the 10% Caymanians that don't want to work and will sit down all day at the beach there in Town while the rest of us have to slave away and work. And then they get handouts from ministers. They're just ridiculous. I mean, it is hurting all of us because the ministers find a way to steal it back from the people. So Siobhan says threatening violence in front of kids, but you can't curse. Yeah, bunch of hypocrites. And also, I didn't hear his bosom buddy, Chris Saunders, saying at that time that he should have been arrested and charged for that, since he's all concerned about what's said around youth and young people. Why didn't you pursue that, Minister, or no longer Minister, no longer Deputy Premier Chris Saunders? Yes, you got fired from those jobs. My apologies. Liana says the shop is open, but nobody's shopping. It's sad, John's hypocrisy. Yes. And, I'm glad that person reminded me of that. To be quite frank, I'd forgotten about that because John has so many things in his closet. I can't even keep up half the time. Biggest hypocrite to walk the earth, says Siobhan. Live says the F word means I don't know what to say. The S word can be replaced with sugar. Shut the F up can be replaced with shut the back door. There's a book on the alternatives. Oh, Lord, that means I have to learn a whole new language of alternatives. Or you could just stay tuned until 10:30 when we're no longer on air. And my freedom of speech protects me. Y'all heard the commissioner trying to tell him, as, I guess nicely as he could, there's certain things that are simply not an offense. Cursing is not an offense. But you know what is so funny? Cursing at the police is an offense. And interestingly enough, there are people who do that every single day right in the beautiful district of West Bay, and the police do nothing with them. They don't arrest them. They don't touch them, nothing. So when he talks about he wants equal application of the law, I have a lot of examples that I can show him where there is no equal application of the law. Good morning, caller. How you doing, honey Jill?
Good morning, Sans. You're speaking to Gareth.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? You good?
I'm good. What's going on?
Great. So yeah, I messaged your page last night, and I got told to phone through today. I've already forwarded the screenshots that might be needed. But what I'm dealing with is an old roommate that I lived with in March, and ever since I've been promised every month my deposit back, and now it's come to a point where I'm just fed up with the stories and excuses, and just looking for any kind of help,
I didn't get the screenshots yet, so I think another admin may have been messaging you. So you sent the screenshots on, was that Facebook or Instagram?
I sent WhatsApp number.
Okay. All right. So let's just understand the context. I'll try to let me just get the screenshots here. But so it's the roommate that owes you the money?
Yes. So the landlord doesn't even live on island. And she's kind of entrusted the roommate with the responsibilities and everything. So she kind of runs the place and all of that. But, there's been 3 different people since me. I've spoken to the first guy that started living there just after me. He paid deposits. He's apparently also owed money by her. But I can't confirm any of that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's been 3 different people, and I still have yet to see any money for my deposit. And it's just
And how long
it's
ago did
ridiculous.
you move out?
Probably April, yeah.
Okay, let me just have a look here. All right, so April, we're now in December. Oh wow, that's a long time. And how much money,
Yeah.
Gareth, are we talking about here? How much money does this person owe you?
So it's just 800.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to move into another house while still looking after the house that I'm in right now. So it's kind of put me in a bit of a spot.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not a lot, but it's just the fact that that for me is a few days worth of work.
Yeah, of course. So I see correspondence here. You're in green, I guess. Her name is Jillian. You say this is my last attempt to try to get my money without escalating it because I don't want to lose a friendship. So she's supposed to be your friend? Wow.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Oh.
And that was me really trying. That was like, the last hurrah. And
Yeah.
then yesterday I gave another opportunity and I said, boo, can I tell this girl that I have a deposit, yes or no? Because, it's a room I'm waiting on. And I don't in October at some point, I found another room and I asked her for the money. And it was, yes, no worries. I'll have it for you. Don't worry about a thing. And then when push comes to shove, I'm left there with no reply, with no blue ticks.
So this message back in June the 12th, there's a voice note from her where you gave her your account information. I see that she heart emojied it. Was that voice note basically saying, because it's just a screenshot, but was that voice note saying, oh yeah, I'll get you your money?
Yeah. And then I'd have to go really digging. I've got an email account that's associated to one of the old WhatsApps that I had. That could bring up the information. And I get she's had a rough time too. I mean, she's had problems with her legs at some point. She had an injury. I don't know what happened with one of the roommates, but apparently he was a nightmare. So I feel like I have been super understandable. But I've also been super patient, and I think it's just gotten to the point where now she's no longer giving me any form of like a due date or any. I always have to chase her, which is ridiculous,
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm just having a quick perusal here of the messages.
I threw one in there just for a gag. One where I was short $75 because of a accounting error. On the Friday I gave it to her, and then on the Friday I asked her if she could please just spot me the 75 for the rent, and I'll get it back to her. On the Sunday she already messaged me, hey, where's my 75?
Oh my God. Right. All right. Can you WhatsApp me her number? Let's give her a call. Yeah. Okay. What a hot mess. I tell you. Yeah, not good. Not good. I'm curious. You've got an ex-girlfriend named Tesla?
Yeah.
That is so funny. I just saw that and I was like, who names their kid Tesla? I guess this was before Tesla existed, probably. But that's quite an interesting name. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just busy getting the number.
Yeah, no worries. We'll give her a call this morning. Tell her she better find your money. It's Christmas time. You understand?
Yeah, bro. And the other thing is, I hear her mother's visiting,
Uh-huh.
and apparently she's bragging how the mother doesn't have to pay for anything. And
oh, so she's rich.
Yeah. And she's blocked me off of WhatsApp stories, so I don't have to see her living large.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? No way.
Yeah.
So she's spending your money and probably other people's money, living her best life.
I mean, I think it's like that's what she's doing. It's just the best thing ever to just keep getting people in, taking the deposit, and then never giving it back. And the landlord is probably none the wiser.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does she listen? Does she listen to the cold hard truth?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. All right, hold on a second here. Mm-hmm. I see that she mentioned where she was going to be working. Do you know if she's still working at that particular restaurant?
Yeah, she still works there.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I know that she told me 3 months ago, 4 months ago, that it's starting to pick up. And if you know that place, it's always picked up.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that
always
place is
busy.
always,
Yeah, definitely.
and I'm in the industry, so it like, it just adds to insult when she thinks I'm an idiot like that.
Yeah. I feel you. All right, let's see if we can try reaching her again. Mm-hmm. Maybe she worked late last night. I don't know.
Yeah, could have been.
Still kind of early.
Yeah, she's probably up all night spending my money.
I'm pretty sure that she spent that probably 50 times over by now.
Yeah, exactly. And I still can see her story through other pages, so I know, she's eating at Abacus all the time.
Send me her. Do you have her social media? Let me just go and have a little sneaky link on social.
Okay, sweet.
Let me see here. Mm-hmm. Let me log into Facebook and see what we got here.
Okay, I sent a screenshot.
Okay, I'm still waiting on it to come through. Oh, there we go. So that's her Instagram. Does she have Facebook or she's just an IG?
She might have Facebook. I just don't have Facebook to check.
Okay. What's that made the last name? Let me see if I can find her.
Okay.
So she says for Instagram, she's unpredictable, unforgettable, enjoying the passage of time. Okay, with your money.
Yeah, I want to forget.
Yeah. Enjoying the passage of time with your dinero. This is no bueno. Yeah.
And I really didn't want it to get to this.
Yeah.
But what do you do with this kind of person?
Yeah, it's not cool. Totally not cool. And the thing is, I don't even understand. I mean, I think you should notify the landlord as well that this is happening because, as you rightly said, she may not even know, and this puts her in a bit of a precarious situation as well.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, I did speak to her at some point, and she was like, okay, well, if you're owed money for the deposit, then it's not Jillian that I need to email. It's going to have to be the landlord. But then it's like, how do I get the landlord's email even,
Yeah.
But I don't know any of this, and I was hoping, someone could point me in the direction of someone that would be like, yo, I know how to get the landlord's email or something like that.
Well, she does follow CMR on Instagram. So I'm going to follow her back. So we'll see if she responds to that request. But yeah, she's living her best life. I mean, the profile picture shows her on the beach, living it up. So,
and now what's going to happen is I'm going to be the bad dude for trying to remunerate my money.
I know. This is how it always goes. But you have a right. You have a right to get your money back. Yes, I found her on Facebook. There she is at Starfish Point. Yep. In her little blue bikini. There she is on a Jeep. Uh-huh. There she is partying. Lone Star. Okay, Jillian, I see you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a social queen.
Yeah, she seems to be having a good time. Okay. She's wishing her friend a happy birthday. Yeah, she likes to party. Which is fine. You can party all you want. You just can't be holding on to people's money. So
yeah, and more so, you know, like, and at some point I needed an operation, and as I told her about this, and I need the money, whatever. I need it for copay, and yeah, don't worry about it. And like that, it's kind of like I've told you I'm in pain, and I need this money for something to help solve that, and you still absolve yourself from the situation, but then still continue going out.
Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah, I would be pissed. Yeah, I would totally be pissed. Wow.
Sandy, she even comes into my bar and spends money.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
No. Imagine. She comes into your workplace and spends money right in front of you?
Right in front of me. But then we'll say something. The last time she did that, she came in, she spent money, and then she said to me, hey, don't worry about your money. The guy's moving in, and he'll pay me the money on the 1st. And then it just coincidentally, I bumped into this guy on the 6th or 7th, and he's got a weird name. So the second he said his name, I was like, hey, question, did you pay your deposit? Like, yeah, I paid him the bill. And I heard nothing from her for another 3 days, and I was like, okay, let me just message her.
Wow. Yeah. And did she respond that time?
I can't even remember the response really. And I've busted my old phone, but yeah, it was something along the lines of like, yeah, don't worry. You know, she's had a tough time. She'll get through this. You'll see in the other messages, she says something like, we'll get through this. And I'm like, what are you going through? You know, other than having a really good job and going out all the time and spending people's money, you poor soul. Right. You know? Yeah, the anxiety of owing people money must be exhausting.
Oh my God. This girl is a mess. Let's try to call her one more time. Jillian, you need to wake your behind up this morning. Wake up, girl. You're a mess. This is ridiculous. Let's see here. Can somebody wake Jillian up? Everybody's like, let's see what she looks like. Let's see. Okay. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put out an all points bulletin for Jillian this morning. Anybody knows Jillian? Oh, she's got a lot of really pretty tattoos. Please ask Jillian to wake up this morning and give us a call. She has got to find Garrett's money. You said your name was Garrett, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, she's got to find his $800. Christmas is just in a couple days. I'm pretty sure that he could use his money right about now. So anyone know Jillian Farah? Please ask Jillian this morning to wake up and give us a call. Young man, we're going to get you your money.
Thank you, girl. And then could I just ask you a favor? Could you just leave the post about the X out? Just that one.
Yeah. No, no problem. No, we'll keep it focused on Jillian. Jilly Bean,
right,
time to get up. Thank you. We'll be in touch with you.
Thanks, Ange. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a good day. You too. Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye. Folks, you can't go around just taking people's hard-earned money. $800 is a lot of money. What is wrong with Jillian? Living her best life. Somebody says, what's going on with Nicholas? Actually, there was a guy who called me all the way from Jamaica over the weekend about Nicholas. He was supposed to call into the show, Nicholas Miller. He owes so many people money. It's ridiculous. And that's an immigration scam. Oh my gosh. This guy called me, I think it was Sunday night. Because I was like, who's calling me from Jamaica that I don't have saved in my phone? Because, I'm like, I got my Jamaican link saved. And so, let me see if I can find the number. Yeah, this person's like, Miss Sandy, I'm another victim. I was like, damn, how many victims does this man have? Let me see if I can call him back. He was 876. And the crazy thing, Jillian just responded. Hello, may I ask who this is? Well, answer your phone, Jillian. How about you do that for change? Or you can ask who it is. Let's get Jillian on the call. Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hi, Jillian.
Hi. Who's this?
Sorry to wake you up. I figured you're probably still sleeping.
That's okay.
Yeah, this is Sandy from Cayman Mall Road.
Okay.
Gavin. You know your friend Gavin?
Gavin. I don't have a friend named Kevin.
Gavin. No, sorry. Hold on. Let me get the correct name. Hold on. Not Gavin. Is it Gavin? Oh Lord, what's his name? Oh no, I forgot his name already. My apologies.
Okay.
Garrett. Yes. My apologies. I'm tired today.
Garrett.
Yeah.
That's
so
okay. So am I.
So Garrett said you owe him $800 and it's been a minute and he wants his money. What's going on with Garrett's deposit money?
Garrett and I spoke yesterday.
Garth is his name. Sorry, not Gareth. Garth.
Yeah. We spoke yesterday.
You spoke yesterday, but you've been speaking to him for months.
Yes,
and he just wants to know where his money is.
Okay, I will call Gareth.
So he doesn't want you calling him. He actually wants you to give him his money. Now, Jillian, this is how it works, right? I'm sure you might be a little bit aware of, what we do here on CMR, trying to help people. Okay.
Of course.
He has shown us evidence. I'm just going to get him on the line in case he wants to say anything about how you can get him his money. But, he's shown us all the screenshots and all the promises of where you've said, yes, I'm going to get you money. I'm waiting on someone to pay rent. I'm waiting on somebody to give me their deposit, this, that, and the next thing. Girl, listen, this is what I tell people. Help me help you. Because you don't want this to go to the next level. Yeah?
I certainly don't.
Yes, because this demonstrates a degree of, and for the record, let me just say that Gareth called into the show this morning. So I am calling you and you are live in radio. So I think I just neglected to tell you that. So I want to make sure I tell you that. So Gareth has said he's had enough of your excuses. He doesn't want any more excuses. He has, given you his bank account information and he just needs you to send him his money. At one point, he needed it for surgery and you didn't deliver it for surgery. Oh, I think she said she's going to call Gareth back. She hung up real quick. Oops. Let's get Gareth back on the phone. What a hot mess. So she can call Gareth right now. Gareth don't want any phone calls. Gareth is like, I just want my $800. I've given you the money and I just want my money. Okay, hold on one second. I keep telling y'all in your messy links, you keep fooling around people money. And then you end up on Mall Road. Y'all the one who be making stuff escalate. Siobhan says it's like ring around the roses. So maybe she's on the phone with Gareth now, trying to get him to sympathize with her. I just spoke to him yesterday. Yeah, you've been speaking to him, although he said you're blocking him on certain things. Just give the man his money. All right. How many of y'all think Gareth is going to get his money today? Garth. What are we calling him Gareth for? Is it Garth or Gareth? I can't remember. Nosa. What a mess. I'm so tired today. I'm just like, what did he say his name was? The man said, I want my money. Where's that Rihanna song? Give me my money. What a hot mess. You know what I noticed with these Samsung phones? Can I make an observation? They don't have the phone law that includes the WhatsApp calls. What? Meanwhile, Garth. Oh, sorry. Garth must be on the phone talking to her now. Garth. All right. She's probably crying on the phone to him now. Oh, Garth. Oh my gosh. You're going to make me lose my job because everybody now knows that I'm a person who takes people money and go party with it. Party girl. Trying to live it up. So he says that he'll give her a call later. All right. Yeah. Huh. All right. Go get her, Gareth. Get your money, honey, child. Garth. Lord, I keep calling the man the wrong name. Rough C says she's cussing the man out right now, saying you called CMR. Well, what does she expect? People are only going to take this kind of foolishness for so long. Sure. Who else wants the call? Who else owes you money? He said she didn't call him yesterday. Oh, she lying to CMR? I told her. She's been warned. All right, we're not going to post her up yet because we try to give people an opportunity. Like I said, help me help you. Okay? We're going to give you an opportunity to sort out the man money. Let's see how bright Jillian is or not. Blackberry says she shouldn't have to wait for another tenant to sign in order to give the man his deposit money back. Deposit funds are to be kept separately from operating funds, and she clearly has stolen his deposit money, and that's a legal offense. Yes. And I keep saying this over and over again. I don't know what's wrong with you people. Now, it's interesting that she's not really the landlord, but the landlord has put her in charge of landlord affairs. Oh, my gosh. Some of y'all be getting yourselves in a whole world of trouble. She's out here just living her best life. Olive says, not getting it today, not getting it ever. Oh my gosh. Do you guys really believe she's not going to give the man his money? I don't think she's that stupid. I am willing to bet he gonna have his money. She gonna go find that from somebody now. I don't know who else she gonna be crooking to get Gareth his money or Garth. But I suspect she's gonna find Garth's money. Christmas is here. Garth needs his money. Jillian, you're a bad young lady. I'm getting my little mat because I'm going to stand up now. All right, girl, sort yourself out. Sort yourself out. Hello, McKaylee, how are you? Siobhan says, should pay what she owes instead of worrying about partying. Priority is not right. Give her an opportunity, but look at how many months. Go de so. Post her up. Junior says, never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. Yes, everybody thinking of Rihanna's song now. You better have my money. Yeah. Is there a clean version to that song? I don't even know. But Rihanna wasn't playing. She's like, you better have my money. Mm-hmm. Oh, there is a clean version according to YouTube. Oh gosh, this means that this one says super clean edit. Ooh, let's hear what the super clean edit sounds like. Yeah, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Rihanna, that's my girl. Boy, she having some children now. It's like Rihanna waited to have kids and then boom, she's popping 3 out at one time. I was like, girl, slow down now. Whew. My little heart can't take it. Here's Rihanna's song. Y'all ready? Ready for Riri? Hold on now. I feel like we need a little something to get us moving this morning. It's just one of those slow days. I'm tired. You're probably tired. Let's rewind. Let's rewind. Oh, I love the lyrics of this song. Yo, 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 yo. Nah.
Better have my money. Y'all should know me well enough. Better have my money. Please don't call me on my bluff. Pay me what you want me. Ballin' bigger than LeBron. Give me your money. Who y'all think y'all frontin' on? Like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, boy.
Do it 13 and it's all on me. You just bought a shot. If you think that you gon' knock me off the top, your wife in the backseat of my brand new foreign car. Don't act like you forgot. I called a shots. Like blah, blah, blah. Pay me what you want me. Don't act like you forgot.
That's right, honey, chill. Yeah, Julian act like she forgot that she owed this man his $800. You better find my money, honey. What a hot mess. Good morning, Daisy. Good morning, Brian. Yes, Jillian, find the man money. Let's move on. All right, good stuff, Riri. You go on through, girl. She's a billionaire, you know. I want her to call me. Riri, call me. I can be like a publicist or something, you know. Call me. I need some of that billions too. And I'll work for it, I promise. Woo! No, sir. Daisy enjoying the nice winter in the UK. Brr. All right, let's talk about some of these MPs. Lord Jesus, I'm so sick and tired of them. Anybody else sick and tired of them and their ridiculousness? Yeah. So we're going to talk about the environment today as well. Before I talk about that, let me make some food recommendations for y'all, just in case you need any. 'Tis the season. We all know that 5 pounds that we lost, we probably gonna gain it back during the next couple of weeks. Well, Christmas is Monday. I'll skip some meals to have the meal that I really, really, really want. Siobhan said I've been sick and tired of them politicians. Anyway, I have discovered what could be the best Christmas meal ever. And you can have it now, before Christmas. Oh my God. So listen, y'all know I grew up in America over there. And so I love me a traditional American Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that, what does that mean? That means turkey and ham and all the good stuff like that. So even when it's not Thanksgiving, honey child, you give me a nice turkey dinner with like, cranberry in the side. Oh my God. Even if it's not turkey, you know what else goes really good with cranberries? Pork chops. Oh my God. Have you ever had a nice well-seasoned pork chop? A little bit of, you can do it all kind of different sides, but pork chops and stuffing, it's the same thing as turkey, far as I'm concerned. It's just other white meat. Lobster. No, honey chill. In America, we wasn't eating no lobster. Y'all came on in so spoiled. Talking about you want lobster and conch for Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh yeah? Y'all not easy. My aunt used to be like, whenever she would get, like some Caymanians would come and visit. She used to be friends with Miss Jan. You know, what's her friend there in America? He used to be head of like FIFA and all that kind of, Jeff Webb. So my aunt knew Jeff's mommy and his sister, Miss Jan, and stuff. And, you know, they were, I think at one point they actually lived in Tampa, or they had a home in Tampa or something. So they were always in contact with each other. You know, Caymanians back then, anywhere you went, you were looking for the few Caymanians that you could find. And there was a few in Tampa. And so she would like, when she knew that they were coming, she was very Southern sounding because she'd lived in the United States all of her life. She'd like, can you bring me some conch and some lobster? Like a little Southern American. And honey, chill. I was like, oh. And then anything she couldn't get, can I get some Milo? We can't find Milo here in Tampa. I was like, I hear it, Aunt Lottie. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they would get her the fresh Cayman lobster and take it in. And I don't ever remember her cooking ackee. So I don't know if she ever asked for any ackee or not. But yeah, she used to be trying to get some Caribbean food. So, but I love me an American Thanksgiving dinner. And you know, since I moved back to Cayman, all right, we can have some Cayman beef and conch and whatever. Pile it all on the same plate. Sure. Why not? All right, but look, yeah. Let me show you what could be the best thing going these days. Look at this. So where's Scott? Scott, are you awake this morning? Are you here, honey child? I'm going to give you a shameless plug this morning. I had a meeting with Scott last week, and he said to me, oh, you know, let's have a little chat. And lunch is on me. Well, Scott is one of the owners of Waffle Monkey. So anytime he says lunch on me, I'm like, oh, we getting waffles today, honey, chill. So I said, sure. And I can't remember if he sent me this picture. I saw it and I'm like, Scott, this looks amazing. What is this? He said, oh my God, you need to come and try it. So he's like, let's meet up. We haven't chatted in a while. Oh my God. Let me tell you what this is. You see the waffle underneath? The waffle is actually made of stuffing. Yeah. Can you believe it? So they take stuffing, I guess they put on the waffle griddle or whatever, and they, you know, looks like a waffle. And then on top of that is a layer of mashed potatoes. Yes. And then on top of that is turkey with gravy. And then they serve it with a side of cranberry sauce and a side of extra gravy. Now, I could not bring myself to really use the extra gravy, but oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Good morning, caller. Hello. Good morning. Hi. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. Just as she was about to talk. Sorry. I couldn't hear you. Y'all need to try this. So this is a Christmas special. You see, have it for lunch, breakfast. I don't care. This is delicious. Amazing. Oh, yes. I'm on air. She said she didn't know I'm on air. Yes, honey child, I'm on air. Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 10:30 for years now. So go and try this. The only thing I would recommend to make this dish any better, and I'm going to have some today. I'm going to save up all my calories. The only thing that would actually make this any better is I actually don't like the cranberry sauce like this. I like the smooth one. You know, the one that you can like slice? That's the cranberry that I like. So I would just suggest that they get some of that for me. And I'd probably be there every day. Love it. It is so good. There's just a certain combination of like certain things that go together. You know what I mean? Like conch just goes with white rice and a little piece of breadfruit and plantain, ripe plantain. This all just goes together. Oh my gosh. Oh, no. I gotta tell you. So, can I make a confession? It was so good, and I didn't eat that day. So, I had one, and I was like, oh my God, can I totally pull a gluttonous move today and have seconds? Scott was like, yes, knock yourself out, girl. I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm going to have the itis after this. Oh my God. So delicious. Go have some. They got fresh turkey in. They make everything fresh for you. It is delicioso. Christmas special. Good price too. All right. Vote in the poll. Let me pull the poll back up. Give me 1 second. Let me see here now. Where's the poll? Okay. Yep. So the poll question today, folks, is whether or not MPs should have a driver. And not just if they should have a driver, but this is cabinet members. So far, why does the poll look like this today? Can we not get the where are the results? Why am I not seeing the results? Why does this poll look different, Kevin? I'm not sure. Can we not get it as like the results showing up? But anyway, I can't tell you what percentage. I don't see that on this one. What percentage has said none of the above, but I would say it's still a relative landmark. So what you do to participate in the code, you scan the QR code. You can use your phone, or you can just go to slido.com and you put in the number. The number's covered. I can't see what the number is. I don't know why they put this little thing right here. You should be able to make this disappear. You put in the number there. All right, let's talk about how these MPs, how else they're wasting our money other than spending it in vehicles that they don't need. This person says, you're making me so hungry now for that stuffing waffle plate. Yummy looking. Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Where is this from, please? Waffle Monkeys. Waffle Monkeys on the waterfront, right next to the Digicel store, right across from Casanova's. They have parking in the back. So just go and park in the parking spot, walk into Waffle Monkeys, tell them Sandy sent you and you're here for the Christmas special. Because I'm going today to get some without doubt. Scott says, I think that you love this waffle more than anybody else. I'm telling you, I'm going back today. It's like Christmas dinner before Christmas. And it's not huge, but it's enough. And if you got to go for seconds like me, then, you know, it's Christmas. Do your thing. So, yeah. Delicious. All right. Let's stop thinking about food because I'm just making myself hungry. Lord, my energy is like really low today. Okay. I feel like I might need 2 of those again today. Lord Jesus, help me. We're going to have to pray about this. This person said, I prayed you up already. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. So listen to the hot mess. Oh, we got a caller. Good morning, caller. How you doing, honey Jill?
Good morning, Sandy. You seem like a little bit up mood today.
Oh, I feel tired. I didn't get enough. I worked so late last night and I didn't get enough sleep. Can I get some sympathy? Can I be like these MPs? Wah, wah, wah. Can I get sympathy?
I think Kirk's has come. I was feeling down the other day and I went in and I bought some Ambition too.
Oh my God. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Well, it's not ambition that I need. I just need sleep.
Well, only one person do that for you is yourself.
I know, honey chill.
Yeah, I was thinking, with all that's going on in the world, I would love to hear there's peace in the world.
Oh yeah.
And people are rushing to buy all these gifts that they
Mhm.
can't afford.
Yes, I know.
People, they stick them in a shelf. Nobody uses them. One of the best gifts that you can give to somebody that
Mhm.
you had sit down and think of your family that you have not spoken to,
Mhm.
your relatives, your
Mhm.
mother, father, friends, and you call them up and
Mhm.
say, I want for us to get back like how we were before. But the first thing, when you tell somebody that, the first thing they said, oh, well, I wonder if they want to talk to me. If they have been good friends and and both of you screwed up, because it takes two to tango. One will blame
Mhm.
the other one for for causing the problem, or
Mhm.
they say you made me get angry. Nobody makes you get angry.
Mhm.
It's you make yourself get angry. They're the cause of being angry.
Mhm.
So all they got to do is to sit down and think, you know, I may have caused that problem that we are having. Why don't I call up that person and do the
Mhm.
right thing? And you'll be the happiest person this Christmas to
Hmm.
get back with your family.
Did you
Just
hear? Did you hear when we spoke to cousin Frank a couple days ago? Did you hear that?
yeah, I I was
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Mm.
I don't know what kind of transition that he's been into, but boy, he he really lay it down. He even admitted that somebody else had been doing these things
They're
with him.
sending him stuff. Yeah, I was taken aback by that too. Because my gosh, it's a sad situation.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about it is that it's obvious that he has made a big change. It takes it takes a big man to admit that they're wrong.
Mm-hmm. True.
And it was good. It made me feel good because I've known him when Farmer you know had the bar and stuff, but we used to go there many years ago, and being in the police department and stuff, and to see the way that he has turned was years ago, on the way that what he spoke about on the phone, on the radio. It was a great feeling that I think he's realized, being the way he was, it was not the way that he should be. And he has to make that change, that transition.
Mm-hmm.
By coming back to the gifts and stuff, like I said, you can give all the gifts in the world, but it's nothing as great as having family
Mm-hmm.
back in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a lot of effort, but you know, I remember it was a young man that him and his mom. I'm not calling any names. A young man that him and his mom was not having a good relationship.
Hello?
Mm-hmm. Well, 1 second. We just had Mr. Dexter still on the call. Yes,
and
sir.
and I said, you have one mom. Your father's passed on. You have one mom.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to wait because you don't know if she's going to be here tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
or next hour. You call her. He made a promise. Now him and her is like pea in a pod.
Mm-hmm.
He
All
said
right.
that was the best decision that he's ever made. So I hope people that is thinking about how to spend money on gifts,
Mm-hmm.
don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's more important things than gifts.
Yes, that's for sure.
Anyway, Sandy,
Thank you
all the
so
best.
much, my
Keep up.
darling.
You keep up being the mouth for people that can't talk.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All right. We got another caller in the WhatsApp line. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm off air.
No, you're on air. It's middle of a show, honey
No,
child.
no, I don't want to be on there. I text you earlier on because I have something to drop to you.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'll
offline,
message
call
you.
me.
Okay, hon. No problem.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, honey child. We be on air Monday to Friday, 7:30 until when? 10:30. All right. So let me tell y'all something now. About our MPs. So, in order to make a budget work, how many of y'all are good with budgeting? Y'all good with your money? Anybody here that's like really good with money? Johan, I see you're in the conversation. Are you good with money? We know you're cheap, but cheap don't necessarily mean you're good with money. It just means you don't want to spend none on nothing. Sometimes you got to spend money to make money. We know that is the truth, especially in the world of business. But I'm curious, is there anyone who is really good with money? This caller, this listener to the program says, I'm good with money, honey child. Nice. So if you're good with money, you do know that there's a principle where you can't be stealing from Peter to pay Paul. That is normally an indication that you're not very good with money. In fact, that normally means you got piss poor financial habits and you could use some remediation. I'm the first person to say I have been poor with money. I've been poor and I've been poor with money. Not poor with money, but poor with money. In other words, poor fiscal management. Didn't understand budgeting. Didn't understand the importance of focusing on certain big financial objectives, like trying to get that mortgage paid off, as opposed to having a new iPhone. Yes. Making lots of really bad decisions over the years. Now, as I've gotten a little bit more seasoned and had some experience under my belt, I must admit, I have learned to be better, more focused, more goal-oriented. Because, once you hit 50, honey child, it's kind of like, all right, you're on the other side now. You better start thinking about retirement. Start thinking about if you got any kids, what you're leaving for them, what you're doing for them, trying to give them a little head start in life if possible. Yeah, you gotta really start thinking now because time is not on your side anymore. You don't have 35 years of working to put money in a pension fund. So when I look at what this new government, this PPM government, not PPM, UPM, I keep calling them UPP up. And I didn't mean to call them PPM just now, but I guess they're close enough. But they're still fiscally, they're really poor. Even Alden had to tell them, y'all making some bad moves with this budget. Borrowing money to put we the people in debt. It's like they're not even thinking about the financial disaster that they're actually creating for us. Because we're the ones who have to live with the fallout of bad and poor fiscal management. When they're borrowing to the hilts for capital projects they can't afford, that is going to fall on us and our children. You think things tough now? You wait. Till you get a $50 million school, you Brockers. Every one of you is like, yeah, go on through, Julie. We need this school. Tell me, what are you willing to give up in order to pay for this school? Because there is no such thing as a free meal. Yeah? So listen to me carefully now. the country or a country in debt means the people are going to have to pay a heavy, heavy price for that. Sacrifices have got to be made. Let me be very, very clear. At no point in time did Wayne Panton said to Miss Julie, you can't have a new school. My sources have revealed that what he said was, you can't have a new school right now. And you can't have a $50 million school because we can't possibly justify that for less than 200 kids. So let's look at how we can get you to that point of getting a new school that is more reasonable, because money gonna be flowing in the BRAC now going into the 2025 election, and that is what she wants. Because remember, she's the same woman who said she's not running again, but we all know that that's a bold-faced lie. These MPs will lie to your face, both her and what's his name from West Bay, because he's a male version of her. Oh Lord, McKeeva Bush. They both said, "Oh, they're not running again." It has been a ploy to gain sympathy from the people. Well, according to Kenneth Bryan, I'm not the most sympathetic person. Well, not to MPs. So he's right about not to MPs. Because I don't know why they need my sympathy when you're making all this money each month. You better go find somebody else. Cry me a river, because it ain't coming from me. Somebody says the two lying Christian MPs. They have very similar traits. One wears a skirt and one supposedly wears the pants, but they're very similar in personalities, I must tell you. So I see her doing things that are less than fiscally responsible, and I'm concerned. The first thing I want to talk about this morning is political interference by Miss Julie. Do you guys remember when Mr. Raymond Scott came on the program? This is a guy now from Cayman Brac. He lives there, who called in saying that he wanted government to assist him with not losing his home. And he thought the MP should stand in and actually save his mortgage, save CIDB from taking his home. I listened to his story and I was a little bit perplexed and confused, because what I couldn't understand, because when people come in the show saying, oh, I want government to do this, that, and the next thing, we have to be fair and understand what it is that they're actually asking government to do. So he was asking government to get involved in a situation. And then I discovered through my investigation that this is a man who took out loans and simply thinks that he cannot ever pay a loan back. Now, let me be very clear. When we talk about sympathy, there's been a point in time in all of our lives when we've all needed a lifeline financially. You need a little loan, you need something. Nothing wrong with that, folks. But before you jump up and just give people money, even your friends and family members, when they come to you saying that they want a loan, right? I caution you to figure out how they got in the position that they're in. So if it's the type of situation where they had a medical emergency, hey, that can happen to any of us. Sickness will take you down. Unexpected. It can run up a bill into the thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You didn't anticipate that. That's not something you can plan for necessarily. I mean, you can have a sickness fund, but you know what I'm saying? It can hit you and it can hit you hard. Having a child that requires additional medical assistance, special needs, like these things happen, right? And you just weren't prepared for it. You weren't ready. So we all can probably reflect upon our lives of when we had a situation financially and we just need a little bit of help, a helpline, help pull you out of it. What you don't do, however, is you don't take people who have demonstrated no fiscal responsibility whatsoever and keep throwing those people a lifeline over and over again. That is encouraging bad behavior. When I talk on this program about people being enablers, that's exactly what that is. You're enabling somebody and they're not going to learn no lessons that way. You will never learn to be fiscally responsible if there are not consequences for your poor decisions. Simple as that. So when Mr. Raymond Scott was talking about taking out this loan and all his money and and I'm thinking to myself, how do you borrow money? This reminds me of another blogger. How do you go borrow money from CIDB and you never pay the money back? Not a red cent. Who does that? Do y'all understand that that's a government bank? So our money, once again, the public purse, is what sustains and pays for that bank. So when that bank fails, that impacts all of us. Right? Simple as that. When people take out loan and they do nothing, they don't service the loan properly, the loan goes into default. That's bailout money, hundreds of thousands of dollars that the government has to find. CIDB says they have programs. They can offer lower interest rate loans. They can do all this stuff, but they can only do it if they're liquid and they have money. They can only loan people money if they have money to loan. Yeah? They are in the red because of people like Juliana O'Connor Connolly interfering. People like Makiva Bush during the storm there, Ivan, they injected capital into CIDB or help people rebuild their homes, help people with small businesses, do this, do that. People are going in there, getting references from Makiva Bush. Right? Good as gold back in those days, if you got a reference from him. Head of the UDP, they were doing all kind of shadiness. Yeah? And then you have the audacity. It's bad enough that you would get a loan through political connections, right? Through favoritism. But then on top of that, to actually default on that loan, no way of paying it back, no concern for paying it back. You see, this is what happens when you get things in life a little bit too easy. You don't care. You don't have to pay it back. Right? You didn't have to work your backside off in order to prove to a commercial bank that you could even service that loan. You just put in the bare minimum, got a few reference letters. Look, Makiva Bush said, must give me the money. So the poor staff over at CIDB, because of political interference, feels obligated to loan someone money under normal circumstances that they should not have. So this is what happens. I heard the story from Mr. Scott. He says, listen, I provide a valuable service. on Cayman Brack, telling you guys what's going on with the ships, this and that. Well, that has nothing to do with your loans. I can sit here and say, yeah, I provide a valuable service talking to y'all every morning too. You think CNB gonna give two hoots about that? Then you better pay your loan. Y'all gonna have to play that Rihanna song. The bank saying, you better find my money. Certain things you shouldn't mix and confuse yourself with. I am not going to have a whole lot of sympathy for you. I don't care who you are. If you have a loan that you've never paid on, not even to say, listen, bank, things kind of slow right now. I'm not working. Can I give you a little $500 instead of $1,200? You go and borrow heavy equipment from them and you never pay in that loan. Using your place as collateral. Who does that? Pay your loans. Be fiscally responsible or do not borrow any money from the bank. So when he came on the show the other day, I spoke to some of the MPs and they're like, Sandy, we can't interfere. We can't call CIDB and interfere in this. Where would the interference stop? This is a government-owned entity. It is wrong for us to try to interfere on behalf of someone who, by the way, has never even tried to help themselves. Well, y'all know what has happened since Julie has become premier. I need to tell you all this because when I heard this yesterday, I am so shocked and flabbergasted that this woman who claims that she is legally trained would do some of the things that she's doing. Because in my mind, the anti-corruption unit needs to investigate this woman. And I do not say that lightly. This type of political interference is unbelievable. How do you do this? How do you create a situation? I'm going to tell y'all exactly what she has done. But how do you do this and not have the anti-corruption unit or the RCIPS launch an investigation? Y'all want to launch an investigation into people using colorful words on their social media platforms? This is the ish that y'all need to launch an investigation about. You see, these MPs get in office and they believe they are above the law. They believe they can do anything they want without consequences. And I do not care if you are the premier of this country, or if you sweep the streets of this country. The law is the law and it should apply equally to all. John, I heard your comments about equal application of the law, but I see that in your actions, there's something different that you yourself do. You don't believe in equal application of the law. If you did, you'd be paying your pension and insurance for your employees, or you would expect to be arrested like others have been. Ray says, I sense the heat increasing, my dear child. Juliana O'Connor Connolly will do anything to get reelected in her respective constituency. And if that means skirting around the law, if that means, in my opinion, doing something completely illegal, I feel that she would do it. She has no concern for due process. Look at what this woman has done this morning, and y'all tell me how this makes any sense. This property was under contract. He defaulted on the loan. This has been going on for years. CIDB has given him ample opportunity. He says, I have a millionaire friend who could give me a loan. Make your millionaire friend pay it off, and then the two of you work out how you're going to pay your millionaire friend. Even if you refinance a loan, you guys heard us ask the question. If you refinance it, right? Where are you going to find the money to service it? Well, I don't know because, I'm not working. Things been really slow. I don't really have no work. People say instead of calling in on the radio talking about ships every day, you need to focus on, bringing in some money, doing something that actually pays you. If Julie really wanted to help you, what she would do is get you a job where you have to get up every single day, go to work, and earn a decent living. When these MPs give handouts, whether it is Dwayne Seymour in Bordentown handing out money to those druggies sitting on the beach all day, or in this case, Juliana O'Connor Conley, giving a handout by saving this man's property, whatever the handout is, it will not serve anybody any good in the long run, including the people who were actually the beneficiaries of the handout. Let me show y'all what Juliana O'Connor Connolly, the not so honorable premier, did. She went through the Solicitor General's office. Mr. Scott's land was taken back. Someone else put in an offer. The offer was accepted. It was under contract. The money for the full property was in escrow. And she went behind this financial and commercial transaction through the Solicitor General's office, had them contact CIDB and said, cancel the sale that's under contract because we, the government, will be needing that land for the expansion of a cemetery. Oh my God. Wow. If this is not abuse of power, I do not know what is. I need y'all to pay very, very, very close attention this morning. This is horrific. This is horrible. This woman has stopped a sale, a commercial transaction that was done properly in order to save one individual's home who shows no consideration for the people's money, no consideration for paying back this loan. And she is claiming that she has done so under her powers, under the government's powers of, what's it called? What's the legal term again? Basically, where they have land acquisition under the Land Acquisition Act. This is all of you right now. If your mouth has just hit the ground, please pick it up off the ground. Who does this? Huh? This is the height, folks, of political interference. Who does this? This is abuse of power, in my opinion. I would never expect an MP to do this. Thank you, Balika. Compulsory acquisition. Even if I was in this situation, I wouldn't want an MP to do this because this is just wrong. What you could do, if you feel so bad for me, Julie makes over $300,000 a year. Give the man money out of your own personal purse and do whatever you want from there. We don't care if you want to help somebody financially. But she is using the people system. The Land Acquisition Act. We have been informed today by the Solicitor General's office that notice under the Land Acquisition Act will be published today in the Gazette that this block is needed for the purpose of expansion of the West End Cemetery. Wow. And a future location for social housing. Wow. As a result of this declaration, it will not be possible for a client to complete the sale of the land to your client. Wow. Unfortunately, this intervening event has resulted in the frustration of the contract, and the contractual obligations are no longer enforceable against the parties. Of course, they're going to receive their full deposit back. Hold on here now. This shouldn't be about receiving a full deposit back. This should be about a police investigation. This should be about the anti-corruption unit looking into this. Can we get some of these holier-than-thou MPs? Joke. Soundbite Saunders. Why don't y'all call Commissioner Walton to ask him to look into this? The person who had this under contract should seek a judicial review of this decision. This is wrong on so many different levels. But you see what happens when you put unscrupulous people in charge of your government? This is a Christian woman This is the woman who claims that she is a Christian. Right? Yeah. Doing these types of backhand deals. Julie, tell me whether you really believe that this is Christ-like. You think Christ would ever use a system like this and abuse a system like this in order to help someone to gain political favor and gain votes? So there was never any word of this cemetery before. There was never any word of this land acquisition before. Where is the evidence? Where are the plans that this was ever going to be done? When was this ever discussed? I bet you wouldn't find any evidence of it whatsoever. This is really something else. Unscrupulous leaders in this country, political leaders. If they will do this for Mr. Scott, and I got no problems with Mr. Scott, don't y'all get up in your feelings here today. This isn't even about him. Like I said, he actually has very poor, fiscal management skills. The other question I have about this is, since she's stopping the sale, what happens to the loan? Who is going to pay on this default loan? Government claims they need it. Compulsory acquisition. Is government then going to pay off this loan for Mr. Scott so that CIDB is not in a bad situation? And exactly how does this work? Who is government going to acquire the land from? Because CIDB has taken their land back from this man. How does this situation work? Are they going to compulsorily acquire it from CIDB? Because legally, Mr. Scott don't own the land. He's defaulted on the property. Now, government has said that they want a defaulted property. How can this be? Boy, I tell you what, when you think you have seen it all with these politicians, it is just shocking. I am a firm believer that this has crossed the line. This is too much. This is the sort of thing now that needs to really be investigated by the anti-corruption unit. This is what leads to people like McKeeva Bush being able to get in his hands, in the hands of his company, over $700,000 that was a payoff for a decision that cabinet made way back in the day. And then they lie and talk about, oh, it was commissioned for something. It wasn't no commission. When the leaders of this country feel like they can do this sort of behavior and they're going to be a blind eye turned to it, where will the corruption end? Where does the buck stop? You see? She's just in there for 1 month. And look at already what she is doing and how she is abusing her power. Y'all can sit back and talk about Wayne Panton all you want, but I can tell you one thing. By the way, he's coming on the show tomorrow. I feel confident because I know he wouldn't help the man. He said there's nothing that I could do. He would not do such an unscrupulous thing as this. Johan talking about they got what do you say? I predict today her Caymanian status will be withdrawn and CMR shut down. Julie can't withdraw my Caymanian status because I not got no Caymanian status. I'm a Caymanian born of 2 Caymanian parents, honey child. So I'm just as much a Caymanian as she is, so she can't do nothing to me. The truth needs to be heard by the people of this country. Miss Brenda says at least that's one piece of land that won't be owned by foreigners imposing on the people of the BRAC. It is legal under the law. Really? Yeah. So we justify wrongdoing because, at least the government will own the land. You should be very, very cautious encouraging law breaking by your MPs. I don't think this is lawful at all. Now, I'm not the one who would ultimately make that decision. That's why I think the man who was purchasing it should seek a judicial review. All the lawyers out there listening to this show this morning should seek to have this decision go to the courts. Make the courts decide if this is actually lawful to do what she's doing. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sandy.
Mhm.
Listening to what you were saying about the premier, how many other people lost their homes through foreclosure
Mhm.
and they were seeking assistance, even coming on your show
Mhm.
and saying that they had friends and the amount that they were paying wasn't, I don't think it was probably as much as Mrs. Scott.
Yeah.
But well, this is another precedent that's being set up with that 1,500. And everybody now want 1,500.
Yeah, and the thing about it is this is not a man who actually was doing the right thing. So you talking about, this keep this in the hands of a Caymanian. We cannot support our own people when our own people are breaking the law and they're wrongdoers.
Well, the thing is now, what would be the deal? He continues to live there.
I'm confused. Nobody knows.
To live there. Whose name is this property in?
And is she actually going to pay the loan? Is government going to pay the loan at CIDB? Because CIDB should not now be in a position where they could have recovered this through the forced sale of that property. Now they're going to have another piece of property as bad books on their as bad debt on their books.
Okay, and then he was the same one that a while back was involved in this accident.
Right.
So then the victim from this accident, what is she getting?
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Because one of the reasons Mr. Scott has additional land, I understand that he could sell in the BRAC. And one of the reasons he does not want to do so is because the attorneys of that woman he almost killed has put a lien on those properties where if he sells them, at least she will get some form of compensation. This now is where I have a problem with Mr. Scott, although I don't know the man. He is not doing the right thing at all. And then to have the premier of this country support this foolishness is ridiculous because she knows the full story. He almost killed a woman in the streets of Cayman Brac. She is entitled legally to compensation. And that is why he refuses. No.
Because the government is saying, no, they're paying this thing off.
Right.
Then
he has land, other land that he could have sold to save this piece of land, and he's refusing to do so because he don't want this woman to get any money. You can imagine.
Yeah, but she's thinking that only this 800,000 or 300,000 that's gonna be paid. Whoever was gonna acquire this property now, government can end up having to pay a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So
this should be. Thank you, my dear.
All right. Thanks.
936-2626. Anybody out there think that this is actually right? This should be litigated. He mowed down another Caymanian in the street. Since y'all so concerned about Caymanians, is she not entitled? The woman is barely hanging on to life. Is she not entitled to get help with her medical bills and all this kind of stuff? I bet you the government not stepping in to help with that. This is what happens when you have political interference. Because they can't do it for everybody, but they're going to choose the few here and there that they're going to bend the law and break the law in order to help. It's ridiculous. And it should not be permitted to happen without a challenge. I don't know how the anti-corruption unit launches their investigations, but I tell you what, one should definitely be launched here today. Really? I need somebody to explain to me how this even looks right. Give me an explanation that makes sense. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. I just want to weigh in on this mortgage issue and this abuse of discretion. You see, the problem in Cayman sometimes what we do is we try there is a problem, and sometimes that problem is a generalized problem in that it occurs in the community. But rather than bring in proper measures to deal with that matter at a community level, we now want to use discretion to save a particular individual. Now, a few years back, I think 2018, there was an MP, well, it was the Honorable Kenneth Bryan. He was moving very strongly to try and reform the mortgage law so that people can keep their homes. Now, I'm not quite sure that any reform of the mortgage law would have helped this particular individual, because this individual just didn't want to pay, okay? Yeah, just to be clear about that. But you see, if the politicians are concerned about people losing their homes, then what they need to do is pick up that exercise again of trying to reform the mortgage law. Now, we are told by the Cayman financial experts that what exists in Cayman are not really mortgages, properly so called. They are demand loans. In other countries, Canada, the UK, proper mortgages are much more difficult to foreclose on, although they do take some measures to ensure that the lender is not losing money. And there's a whole complicated way in which they balance that out. But you see, what has happened since then about this proposed mortgage law? The Honorable Kenneth Bryan pushed it quite hard when he was in the back bench. I mean, he pushed it hard because, I mean, look, I can tell you that I was involved together with a number of other people to try and help him get the government to move. But what they did was they said, oh, no, you see, rather than bring a motion to the House, to force government to put together a committee to look at this, let us send it to the Law Reform Commission. And usually when they send it to the Law Reform Commission, it's because they want to kill it. And they managed to kill it because this was really active around 2018. I remember Dr. Steve McField, other people talking about how the whole thing can be corrected. And how long is it since then? It is now 5 years and nothing has happened. So instead of really the Premier, if she wants to help people, this is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to reform the matter so that you can also be fair to everybody, the lenders, the mortgage people, and so forth. Now, talking about what the remedies of the people involved might be. In my view, Sandy, I agree with you. This needs to be judicially reviewed. This is an abuse of the discretion that the government has to compulsorily acquire land because there are certain criteria under the relevant law which determine when you are supposed to acquire land, and you must meet those criteria. It is also, in my view, an improper motive. You are using a discretion for an improper motive because really, I do not think that this attempt at compulsory acquisition is really intended to be for the public good, the public at large, which is what compulsory acquisition is. I think they're just pretending that it is for the public good, but actually it is to save an individual. And I think if you go to court and make that case, you probably will be able to convince the court. I think this is wrong. We want to solve the problem. There's a way to do it, not to abuse your discretion.
And I mean, I have so many questions. Thank you so much, caller. I have so many questions about when this decision came up about expanding the grave and all kind of foolishness. This seems very contrived at best. This does not seem like a genuine situation at all. Now, somebody else asked the question. So if they said, morning, Sandy, how is Mr. Raymond going to have his home if the Premier is going to use his land for cemetery? I agree the Premier should have used her personal funds. Well, what I think is going to happen is that project of expanding the cemetery will never come to fruition. This is just a contrived excuse in order to cut this contractual, this contract that was already in place to acquire this property. That is the sole purpose here. I think any half blind and half dumb monkey, and I don't want to insult the poor monkeys, poor them, could see exactly what is going on here. I mean, honestly, what next? Sorry. Unbelievable. If a leader will do this, and I want you to have it against the backdrop of someone who claims that she is a principled individual, who claims that she operates on moral standards based on the good book called the Bible. If she would do something like this, what else is she going to do? Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning there.
You also know about the family member house being rented by government.
Sorry, the family member's house that is what?
Being rented by government.
Being rented by government. Where is this house?
Oh, no, I can't tell you all that because I'm going to come back now get into some of this corruption of today, so I don't want to tell you too much, okay?
Okay.
I'll call you back later on, my dear, and tell you how it goes.
All right, my dear.
Yeah, of course.
No
okay?
problem. Thanks.
And what you need to do instead of going to church, you need to go down to Lake Como. You know where that is, right?
No.
In Tampa.
Oh, uh-huh.
Okay. If you need to go out and bear her soul, okay? You check out where Lake Como is, okay? Look Lake Fun Road. All right.
Okay. All right, dear.
All right, then. I'll
Thank
call
you.
Back someone day and tell you how the story goes.
All right.
All right.
Well, you got to tell us how the story go so we can look into it, verify, and but let me be very, very clear. A lot of this situation, this type of thing in the BRAC is happening on a regular basis, and y'all are not paying attention. Even the road works crew, instead of them properly making people go to NRA or public works and get hired and whatever, they've had a special crew of individuals going around cleaning up the BRAC for years on contract and just getting paid an hourly fee. And they've all gotten used to this type of arrangement. And that is how a lot of the drugs are being moved around on Cayman BRAC as well. And these people are not subject to any rules and regulations, any proper employment contract, nothing. Because this is how the Brackers do it and how they've allowed Juliana for almost 30 years to stay in power. Buying votes and buying out the people and using the public purse in order to do it. It's this type of thing. Why anybody with good sense did not want her to take over as premier again. Corruption. Like I said, her and McKeeva Bush are cut from the same cloth. They've both been in there long enough to know how to finagle the system and how to work it to get what they want, whether it's right, wrong, or in between. It doesn't matter. You know how many kickbacks people are going to get now from this so-called BRAC school? How many contracts are going to be flowing on the BRAC with no degree of accountability? Everybody needs to be held accountable in this country. Caymanians, we cannot sit back and allow corruption to take over and then talk foolishness about, well, at least we Caymanians. Destroying your own country, you think that that's a good thing? Every other country that we look at with a side eye and we think we're better than them, this is how it all started. With the select few thinking that they could bend the rules, break the rules, and do whatever they want. And then one day everybody say, well, listen, if she can bend it and break it for Raymond Scott, then it's my turn. She must bend it and break it for me. And the next person comes along, well, that person got the rules bent and broken for them. I'm a child molester. I want the rules bent and broken for me. And it continues and it continues and it gets worse and it gets worse. It happens every single day. And it's wrong. And you cannot sit back and think right is wrong and wrong is right. You got to have your head put on properly. Somebody said, call the anti-corruption unit and ask them what triggers an investigation. Okay, let's give them a call. I don't got a problem with that. After all, they are a public service. They're a public entity. Our money pays for this anti-corruption commission. So let us see what they have to say about how an investigation can be launched. Someone sent me their 28-page document here. Corruption report / complaints procedure. Yeah, they have a whole email address. Yada, yada, yada. Let's give them a call and see how this really works. We can't put up with this. And I'm sorry, but every single person who said to me, well, we don't like Ween because he's for the environment and we need more control over the environment and we need to be able to do this and do that. I say, oh yeah, I want to hear what you got to say about the man now. At least he was not up for this kind of foolishness. He's against wasting the people's money. He said no to all these Tahoes floating around the place.
Commission Secretary, good morning.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good. This is Sandra Hill live on Bobo 89.1 FM this morning. I just have a question about how a member of the public should file a report or a complaint for the anti-corruption unit to investigate.
Okay, I can transfer you to someone who might be able to assist you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Alejandro, the electric vehicle was his own personal vehicle. He can buy that if he wishes. That's his money. I know. If the man wants to spend his money in an electric vehicle, that's his business. It's not a government vehicle. Those Tahoes that are wasting gas, wasting diesel, are government vehicles. Hello? Dun, dun, dun. Where's my Jeopardy song? Hello?
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
ACC. How can we assist you?
I'm sorry, who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with O'Neill Baca, investigator at ACC.
Oh, yes. Good morning, sir. I'm just trying to confirm or clarify the procedure to submit a report to your unit.
All right. If you go on our website, you'll
Mhm.
find an application page.
Okay.
Actual complaint form. There's a
Okay.
number of ways you could do it via the website.
Uh-huh.
You can actually come into us and speak with us directly.
Okay.
We'll take it and then we'll basically give you a physical copy of the form or direct you.
Mhm.
Once you fill out that form, then you submit it through the website or you could hand deliver it.
Okay. So the form is on the website and it can be submitted through the website as well as you could come in.
Yeah, you could come in.
Okay.
Coming might be the easier position because then you'll be able to digest what you were saying and at least you get some form of feedback initially.
Mhm.
But once we take
But have you seen traffic recently? Have you seen traffic? Nobody wants to drive around that traffic right now. But where is your office located?
At 94th Street, so that's on the corner of Mary and Fort.
Mary and Fort.
Right next to Immigration Works.
In the
So it's the Georgetown Financial Center on the 4th floor.
that used to be the building that Canova Watson was in. That glass building?
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And you have regular hours this week, and then I guess you're closed Christmas Day.
Regular hours are 8:30 to 5.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we will be closed on the 22nd and the 29th.
The 22nd is tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
On our public holidays. Apart from that, we open to the public.
All right. And does it matter who the complaint is against? So say, for example, it's somebody like the premier of the country. You guys will use the same techniques to investigate?
Same technique, very transparent, open and partial. Any member of the government or affiliates. And again, it depends on what it is you are reporting.
Okay.
If you care to at least dive into the subject matter, then probably I could advise you.
Yeah.
If not,
Do you guys launch investigations on your own? Is that also, or do you actually need someone to complain?
Yeah, we need a complainant.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like what the police do. You need a complainant.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, I mean, I'm happy, and I don't know if the young lady told you who was calling. Did she tell you who was calling?
I think I recognize it.
Yes. Okay, and you would know we're on radio live, right? So, that's why I was hoping she told you that.
Disclaimer a little bit before.
Yeah, I told her that, so I was hoping she would have passed it along. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we see that the premier of this country has just done something in relation to acquisition of land in Cayman Brac that seems very unusual at best, possibly illegal. So I will personally be sending that through to your office for further investigation, because I think it's something to be looked at. Because on the face of it, as someone who just happens to have a little bit of a piece of paper called a law degree and a little bit of common sense, it looks like she's abusing the compulsory acquisition powers of government.
All right, no problem. We look forward to your complaint, and I'll
Yes,
pass
sir.
the information on to my senior investigating officer, Mr. Richard Palpito.
Okay.
As I said, once the
Yes.
complaint comes to us, it will usually
We're on air, sir. Are you
he
trying
will
to get on air?
present it to the commission. The commission will then make a deliberation on it and see whether it's warrant an investigation or whatnot, and direct an investigation. Once the investigation is completed, then we consult with the director of public prosecution by submitting files. They would then look at the evidence and determine whether prosecution is warranted, applying their test, which is evidential versus public interest. Once we meet those thresholds, a decision is made one way or the other, and then the matter progresses either to the court or depending on what the DPP says.
All right. Thank you so much.
That's our disposal methods.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Have a Merry Christmas when it comes.
Same to you guys.
Okay, dear. Thanks very much. All right, folks. So we'll be filing that complaint. You know, everybody has a right to complain, apparently. You don't like how somebody looks, you're able to call the police and complain about that too. So it is what it is. Give me one quick second here. Shioma says, go investigate Dart, Shillings, and more boats and leave her premier alone. More boats. I'm not sure I even understand what that means. So investigate them for what? What wrongdoing are you alleging that they have done? Good morning, caller.
Yes, ma'am. You're on a good topic this morning. You're making a lot of good sense there, but I love you for it. I not get back to you about waiting on my lawyer to give me some letters. But
okay.
I briefly sought with one of the politicians yesterday and they discussed with me that they're sitting on Armada for at this present time. So the man you just talked to is the man I've been looking for, but they don't give us no inputs where we would go for any leading help.
The anti-corruption unit.
Yes, ma'am.
They're located on the fourth floor of the Georgetown Financial Center.
I'm not going to them until I come to you and leave it till after the Christmas, see what happens. So I just want you to know how a good Christmas, and I will get back to you for real on the first of the year. So leave her alone, make her have a fun wheel section there. We'll put some good feed in the pot for her. So we want our premier back. I didn't like that. Thank you, Mama. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there's no assembly required. All right, I just opened the door for you. All right, thank you so much. Yeah, what a hot mess. So you can talk about going and investigating other people, but the question is, what have they done? You need to be a little bit more specific. What are you alleging that the DART organization has done? What are you alleging that Frank Shillings has done that requires some investigation? You see, these diversionary tactics, when you have just presented with a case that has a lot of people now asking questions, right? This is a very specific situation. Y'all see the correspondence from the bank saying we have to pull this sale because This is what the Solicitor General office has said. And the Solicitor General office has received directions from the premier of this country. How can you talk about, oh, go and investigate everybody else? Stop the nonsense. I don't give two cahoots. If you want to be up under Juliana's skirt 24/7 supporting her, wrong is wrong and you cannot paint it right. You can't pray it right. No amount of calling down on the good Lord is going to make it right. And if y'all really believed in your Christian principles and what God stood for, you would put that to work and stop your foolishness. I'm not currying favor with nobody. I'm not business who it is. 936-2626. This person says, good morning, Sandra. The situation with Juliana reminds me of a drunkard and a politician. An alcoholic, when getting intoxicated with alcohol, he can easily recover. But when a politician is intoxicated with power, he or she can seldom recover. What a hot mess. This just makes people look so bad. And it's not even about looking bad. If you are breaking the law in such a manner, this is quite serious. They have already arrested a sitting MP. She might actually make history now and be the second sitting MP to be arrested. Let's see. Aliana says, I tell you one thing, Sandy is a woman of action. All you soft heart people better toughen up. Leave the premier alone, says Siobhan. Why, if she's doing something wrong? Well, at the very minimum, it looks. And you guys heard Mr. Balika. He has worked in the system. He's a qualified attorney. He's drafted laws of this country. And he himself says he is of the opinion, it's just his opinion, but given his breadth of experience, I would say that you might want to kind of listen to him a little bit. Right? He has said something not right here. Let me talk about it. What else she has done? When we talk about something not right. Listen now. There is a fund called the, hold on now. And this is again goes back to poor fiscal management. You're doing all kind of stuff. The Environmental Protection Fund, the EPF. It is funded by a portion of departure taxes, which are paid, my apologies, at the airport and seaports. 100% of the environmental protection fee collected under Section 6 of the Travel Departure Tax and Environmental Protection Fee, and you guys can go have a look at the law. So Section 6.1 says every agent shall collect from every traveler and tourist and every outward bound vessel an environmental protection fee of $2. And from every traveler and tourist and every outbound aircraft, an environmental protection fee of $4, or such other sum as may be prescribed by the governor and council in regulations made under subsection 4. So it talks about the collection of these fees. Now, the Environmental Protection Fund is something that is used, and let me just make sure I get this right, for the acquisition of certain property that needs to be protected. Here we are talking about we care about the environment. Well, I'm going to say that that's a farce. I'm going to call BS here today. It's a farce. We're paying lip service because we now know that this same government, and they didn't waste any time whatsoever the second Ween got out, They raided the Environmental Protection Fund to help pay salaries. Tell me something. This can't be the same government who just gave every single civil servant, including themselves, $1,500 for Christmas, as though they have so much money. They made it look like they were in the green, forcing other agencies. SEMA, HSA, Cayman Airways owes over $7 million to CIAA. These are people who don't have no money to be finding no $1,500 per person. I'm just telling y'all the truth. You don't have to like it. But this is proof positive that the government does not have the money they're trying to spend. Oh, let's dip into our, Mr. Panton said, don't purchase these vehicles. Oh, we found savings in our ministries to get these entity assets. No, you didn't. Y'all are a bunch of liars. What you found was a way to steal from Peter to pay Paul. You are hoodwinking the system in the worst possible way. A $50 million fighting fund used to buy land for conservation purposes has been diverted to help government balance the budget. And this woman has the audacity to sit on OC's show and to talk foolishness about, oh, I don't want to run afoul of the fiscal, what is it? FF, oh, Lord have mercy. Help me out here now. It'll come to me in a second. I said it earlier. Y'all know what I mean. FFA? FFR. Thank you. Yes. How can you say that? How can you say that when you're stealing from the environmental fund? Framework for fiscal responsibility. This woman don't know what fiscal responsibility looks like. You are stealing from an environmental fund that is designed, Miss Brenda, you talk about the necessity to protect Caymanian land. This is what this fund is set up for. But yet you steal that to pay salaries because you know you can't afford it. If you are operating a business and can't afford to pay your salaries, something is wrong. You're not in a good financial position. And you should not be doling out bonuses or whatever this one-off payment is supposed to be. Because the truth of the matter is you cannot afford it. Right? So one of these days, we're going to try to make our way through this framework for fiscal responsibility to understand what this means. But it is where the UK government is trying to hold the people of the Cayman Islands fiscally responsible, saying you cannot do certain things. Just in August, the previous premier said, I have a responsibility to ensure that the Cayman Islands remains compliant with the FFR. And he was asking people to please cut unnecessary spending. If you have money left over and you don't need to spend it, do not spend it. Now we get a premier, totally different government in there now, who her motto seems to be, it doesn't matter what we have or what we don't have. Let's just write a check. When you can't, you know what happens to you in the United States of America if you write a check and there's no money in the bank and you can't cash it? That's fraud. You get arrested and you can go to jail for that. But yet we have governments doing it. Governments writing a check for stuff they can't afford, committing to projects that they cannot afford. Marshall says anyone talk about leaving the Premier Loon is probably getting their hands greased. Of course. Yeah, the family to her, getting their hands greased one way or the other, and political supporters. This has nothing to do with that. Even if you're Juliana's family, what she is putting us, the people, in the position she's putting us in will ultimately affect you as well. You think you secured because you can go to her and get a little money grab? You wait and see. This is irresponsible. The poor environment is being raped and pillaged in every possible way. And now we see it continues. So they've taken half of the fund allocated for a range of projects in the budget, including more than $13 million to cover the annual operating budget for the Department of Environment. Lord Jesus, the irony of that, the Department of Environment is who they're raping the Environmental Protection Fund for to be able to pay and sustain. Mind blown from here to Mars. It is unbelievable. I mean, my God. This is ridiculous. They are pillaging this fund to an extreme it has never been done before. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Hello.
You're speaking the cold, hard truth.
Yes, sir.
I am a retired accountant.
Yes.
And what they are doing is called deficit spending.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing United States is doing.
Uh-huh.
But United States is the only country on this planet that has the ability and the wherewithal to print their own money.
Right.
Because right now,
Yes.
print. Yeah, because right now, the United States is over $37 trillion in debt. And what they do to help suffice that, they create wars in different areas. And then they sell arms, weapons to different countries.
Uh-huh.
And I could go on about so many other things, but let's just keep it local.
Yes.
Okay. What's happening here is really a travesty.
Yeah.
And the people's money is being pilfered, stolen. Any other word you want to use.
Yeah.
Because we elect persons to represent us.
Mm-hmm.
It is just like some people really don't understand the logic of this, Sandy, and it's very simple. I'll break it down.
Mm-hmm.
You have a company. The company has a board of directors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That board of directors, they appoints a manager, right? That
Mm-hmm.
manager then has an assistant manager,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have other staff members. You have different departments, and then you have heads of departments. Now, each of those departments have to function
Mm-hmm.
just like every link on a bicycle chain.
Mm-hmm.
And if any department is delinquent, that whole system starts to break down.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have one bad link on your bicycle chain,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
And this is the same concept. But some people just don't get it. They are just so oblivious, to the facts. And then when we have people in government, well, I wouldn't even use the word government because people must understand civics, simple civics.
Yes.
Government are us, the people.
Yes.
Those people that represent us, they are called the administration. And people need to get this right. So when they talk about the government, the administration is not the government. They are the government representatives.
Yes.
They are our representatives. We are the government.
Mm-hmm.
So when they go and use our money without or consent or knowledge. That is theft in the simplest form. So when they sit in office and pontificate, stealing our resources, because we don't have any natural resources in Cayman. We only have financial resources.
Exactly.
Right? And I can tell you, our financial resources are vast, or they were vast. They're not as vast anymore. Because another thing that we're stupidly doing is we are allowing wealthy developers to come into this country, and then that is where we receive revenue from. So why are we giving that away to people who already have money? And then we got to have our people beholding and working for a $6 minimum wage. Where is the logic there? Listen, we need to cut the branches. We need to cut the branches. And if the fruits are left on the tree and they're rotting, and the tree roots start to rotten, just cut down the damn tree.
Yep. Start over.
Okay, exactly.
Thank you so much.
That's my contribution this morning.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sweetie.
936-2626. Yeah. They have pillaged the fund in order to fund an entire department. That means that this government, despite them claiming, oh, we're in a financial position to give out a $1,500 bonus to every civil servant, that was a lie. This is a perfect example. So this happened in Finance Committee last week. They're hoping that y'all are not paying attention to the decisions that they are sitting in Finance Committee and making that will be detrimental to the people of the Cayman Islands. $13.1 million from the fund, which includes the Department of Environment's budget, will be used to pay salary and operating expenses for a department. So you mean to tell me that department was in the red by $13.1 million? Obviously. Can't help. That's for 2024, 2025. Meanwhile, you just committed over $10 million plus to paying people $1,500 a month. That makes zero money sense. Something is wrong here. And you cannot have a government making this type of decision and not understand this is going to have some serious financial implications for all of us, not just the civil servants who are benefiting from the $1,500 cash injection they get for the month of December. All of us are going to be responsible for paying this back. All of us and our children, our children's children, their children, their children's children will be impacted by the poor decisions being made by MPs today. What MP needs to go spend our money, $73,000, right? For a Tahoe vehicle that they got to turn around and drive themselves. This is the first step to them justifying getting a driver. Somebody gives you a company vehicle. Remember the video we played of that one speeding down West Bay Road? Now, we don't know if that was an MP driving that, because now we know MPs have Tahoes that they're driving, or if that was actually somebody from the protocol office. We have no idea. So let me ask you this question. Since they have these entity assets which belong to we the people of the Cayman Islands, what are the rules around what they can do with these vehicles? You heard in his own words, Kenneth Bryan say he don't even know who's supposed to service the vehicle. It hasn't been serviced yet, but he don't know who's supposed to do that. So if he doesn't even know who's supposed to do that, that leads me to believe that he signed no document, no terms of agreement, nothing to say this is how this vehicle is to be used, and this is how it's to be serviced, and this is this, and this is that. So he's driving it around like it's his personal vehicle, whether he's on government business or not. Tell me, what sense does that make? You can afford and you own your own vehicle as an MP. Use that Why are you driving up and down all day in government vehicles for? You're not even unofficial government business. Now you go out there. Let me ask you another question. Because we know some of them like to drink and mix medications with alcohol. So say now they go out there and have an accident in one of these government vehicles and kill somebody. It's insured by the Cayman Islands government, right? Yes, because it's an entity asset. And who gonna pay millions of dollars because you just killed some American tourists and they gonna sue you from here to into 5 years from now? Yeah. Y'all not really thinking this thing through. These people are a bunch of jokers. And they are taking us, the people of the Cayman Islands, a bunch of fools. And they're doing the exact same thing with the Environmental Fund and by extension with the environment as a whole as well. They don't want you to pay attention to what's happening with the environment. You finally get a premier who's the first one to create a Ministry of Sustainability. And everybody up in arms about it. Oh, he can't control Gina Petrie. He not doing this, he not doing that. It would be irresponsible of him to try to control any civil servant. She has a job to do under the law, and she has a certain remit. And if you believe she is going too far, or the department is going too far, or the National Conservation Council is going too far, like anybody else, you launch a judicial review, you launch a lawsuit. But you see, what has happened is they did that and they lost not once, but twice. If y'all haven't connected the dots, that one of the major reasons why Wayne Panton was cut off at the knees and kicked out of government was in relation to the environment. They have held this man responsible for what has happened in the courts with the National Conservation lawsuit that was going between the CPA and the NCC. And he not got nothing to do with it. The man has not interfered in it one bit. The lawyers, the government entities fought it out. CPA lost, like I said, not once, but twice. As a matter of fact, they lost 3 times. Because when they came back now and tried to go up to the higher court, the Privy Council, and challenge the Grand Court's decision, the courts, for the Court of Appeal decision, my apologies, Court of Appeal, said no, it has no merit. So count that as another loss, if you will. They upset. Developers upset. They're upset. Everybody upset. And who do they look to blame? Well, it must be Wayne Panton's fault. After all, he is the environmental minister. He must step in and interfere with government and put this all to stop. I need y'all to please wake up. Somebody talking about coastal erosion more than I know. They sent me a video, said, bite this one since we're on an environmental talk today. It's a hot mess. Right? You cannot be wishy-washy about certain things. You have got to be able to hold people accountable. El Rey says this kind of fiscal management is the beginning of Cayman being in debt, like so many other countries being in debt forever and ever. It becomes a norm until the UK steps in. And the UK is going to sit there and let us destroy our country before they may step in. And one of these days, they're going to step in and they're going to say, time for you to go out on your own now. You've made a mess of your situation. Now, bye-bye. We won't be helping you anymore. Now you're going to go out there and swim with the sharks and have no protection whatsoever. Go figure it out. Find money, although you don't have any, to have your own military and to do this and to do that. Y'all don't think it's coming? Wait and see. Wait and see. Al Ibrahim says a heated discussion in Cayman only lasts 2 weeks and nothing changes, and the space under the rug gets bigger. Well, this is why, Al, they don't really like me, because I'm like a dog with a bone. I gotta keep chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and gnawing at it. And I refuse to let you all forget what the people, the elected officials, have done to put you in the position where you are. And this not just start today, let me be very, very clear. A lot of the issues that we are facing did not just start a month ago with Juliana O'Connor Connolly. She's been in office for 30 years. Some have been there longer than her. And the issues go way back. But the problem is we continue to elect people who are not doing any better than their predecessors. And in fact, they are doing far worse. Hermelia says, yes, caller, just like how the people's funds have been wasted in the NICE program and NRAs blaming the ministry. Alejandro says, amen, caller. Mind some countries start interfering with our signal. I'm not willing to witness alien invasion today. What? Live says we need to shut this country and island down and clean up this mess. Live says, give the man a little broom. Jackie says, spot on, caller. No more sales of Cayman property to foreigners, businesses, and development without a lease that the land comes back to Cayman, an example, 100 years. But Jackie, stop blaming the foreigners, because the foreigners are not our biggest problem. We are our biggest problem. We elect officials who they're the ones doing the raping and the pillaging of our money and our resources. Which foreigners you can blame for that? Every single foreigner that got a concession from government for their projects, the government, your own Caymanians, your own elected officials, they did that. They're the ones who didn't put anything in place to even ensure accountability. The only one, and I'm going to tell you all straight up, that they ensure, and they're not the ones doing it, it's the organization themselves, because they don't want the negative pushback and getting a bad name in this small community. Ironically, is the DART organization. They believe in crossing their T's and dotting their I's. Go check it for yourself. They have the documentation. If they say this is part of an agreement with government that they can do X, Y, and Z, they can build the extend Hartwell, what's it called, Esterly Tibbetts. Not only do they do it, but they do it to a particular standard. You ever notice any potholes on the Esterly Tibbetts Highway? They maintain their facilities to an extremely high standard. The one thing that we could find fault with them in terms of construction, those little huts on the beach, come to find out, they didn't even do that. They were taking the government, the same fool people that we put in, and some of the civil servants, instructed them, this is what we want you to build. These are the dimensions. And they simply had it executed. So you can't blame them for that. Government had the power. And look at it. Nobody has ever used those things up to this day. Are they even still there? I think they took them away. They were so stupid. Listen, do not sit back and allow this country to go to hell in a handbasket. I don't care if it's a handbasket that you take into church every Sunday. It don't matter. Keisha, good morning. Joining us from Trinidad and Tobago. So nice to have you here. Al says, I haven't heard about any civil servant complaining about getting extra money or benefits from government. We, the general public, pay the bills. Well, the civil servants pay the bills too. The problem, Al, is our people are so short-sighted. And I mean, on the one hand, as a human being, you can understand somebody can just give you, put that in big quotes, $1,500. You're like, yes, just in time for Christmas. Who couldn't use $1,500 before Christmas? And we have trained generation after generation to be short-sighted. So they're only thinking about December 25th. They're not thinking about the future of this country. Alejandro says, I agree with you, Sandy. They're not thinking about the fallout. They're not thinking about how this is going to really impact us and our children. This government is not even prepared to deliver nothing on minimum wage. Where is the minimum wage report that we were promised from months ago? Where is the immigration reform report that we were promised from months ago? This government is not going to put it in place. Mark my word. Same thing with PPM. They can find every excuse in the book why they cannot address minimum wage reform. We knew there were going to be implications. I said it from day one. I said, well, you can't increase the minimum wage without knowing that potentially other things will go up as a result. You need to educate people and find that middle ground, whatever it is, where it's going to make sense. Reform of the minimum wage has the potential to hurt more people than it's actually going to help, and in particular, Caymanians. But your government was never giving you that message. This is what happens when you jump up on a political bandwagon and a political platform talking foolishness. Amber, good morning. Amber says, Sandra, for 2025, no, honey child. I'm right where I need to be. Jackie says, Sandy, not blaming the foreigners, but there's not so much land left. Actually, Cayman has a lot of land. That is not a true statement at all. Cayman has a lot of land. Some of it is landlocked. You can't necessarily get to it easily, but Cayman has our population density. Outside of central locations, we got a lot of land. That is not our problem. Trust me. And a lot of Caymanians still own hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres per family of land too, if they were smart. Garrett says, Dart honestly did an excellent job on the highways. I trust him more than our government doing our roads. What a hot mess. So I've got an interview here that I want y'all to listen to that's very, very important. This actually took place in October, and I've not had an opportunity to play it yet. And I know that our radio listeners will only hear a little bit of it. But I had so many questions after these legal challenges with the National Conservation Council that I sat down with Gina Petrie, Gina Ebanks Petrie, and some others, and asked them some of these questions, because you hear all sorts of allegations and information being thrown around about what she's doing from what she isn't doing, and the NCC, this, that, and the next thing. And I'm like, listen, we need to get this right. Information needs to just be accurate. I need to sit down with her, get it from the horse's mouth, and see how this situation really goes. Thank you, John. John says, the fact that you're taking the initiative to do this podcast and speak out, stand up. Y'all are way ahead of the U.S. Way to speak up. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Remelia says, what people don't understand is that we, the people, are the government. Take a stand. I mean... Rough Sea says there's very little middle ground for people to work with in the Cayman Islands. What a mess. John LaRue says Caymanians are the ones that sell the land to foreigners in the first place. Oh, yeah, there's that. Little minor detail that we seem to always want to forget. Folks, sit back and listen to this interview. And please try to understand. I think we got a few more because the interview is quite lengthy. So this is one portion of it. We've got a few more that will come out of this. Marcia says, would like to know about these thieves who too many people took people money for permits and nothing happened. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hot topic, but it's just that I just want to say something just a little, that it might hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bible said, if my people
mm-hmm.
that are called by my name
mm-hmm.
would have just humbled themselves, seek my face, turn from them wicked ways, then he will hear from heaven and heal the land.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom line to the story is, you see, if you have one or two person that would stand up for rights in the government, out of the government, policing anywhere, that those few persons don't have the bucketive. And I will say that again. If you are not into certain things that the crowd involved in, the crowd into, you will get teared down and mashed up and crushed to nothing. And that is just a homework for each and every one to look into. But I will say this, it's better for them to look into themselves and turn and look up to God, for God to heal this land here, the Grand Cayman Island.
Okay. Thank
Because
you so
there's
much.
a lot going on that need to expose. And can't expose because it's coming from the top to the top to the top. So I will take it up another time.
Thank you.
And I will constantly listen. But you have persons in the island here right now, registered voters, don't live nowhere, pushed out of our apartment, going through a lot. And most of these money going out all over. Come on, man. Look out for the persons. If person hungry and you feed them not, you're going to have accountability. If person shelter and you shelter them not, you're going to have accountability. Most of these entities are just working out of personality and not doing the will and the right for the people them of the government. God bless you. I'm still listening.
Thank you, my dear.
God bless you.
Thank you. All right, folks, let's go ahead and cue up this interview with the Department of Environment. And I wanted to really have an opportunity to sit down with them because I have so many questions. I'm sure our listeners can relate to this. Sometimes we're not even sure what government departments and agencies do and what their remit is. And so we have the pleasure today of meeting Miss Gina Ebanks-Petrie, who's the director for the Department of Environment. And then we've got Lauren Dombowski, who's here with us. She's the Environmental Management Unit, the manager for that unit. And we just want to ask some questions around the Department of Environment, around environmental protection, around some of the legislation and some of the recent court decisions that have, caused a little bit of stir in the community as well. So first of all, thank you all for agreeing to this. It's really just about trying to educate people, at the end of the day. So I think that perhaps, Gina, we can start with you. You're Cayman's most infamous lady at the moment.
Apparently.
I know a lot of people think that's me, but that's actually you. We're going to let you wear that crown. No, in all honesty, I respect what you do. And I think that, if we know a little bit more about what your remit is, that would be great. When people think of the Department of Environment, what would you like to come to their mind?
Okay, so we do have a mission statement that is, sort of formally describes our role and our mandate. And it's really about the protection of our natural environment and the sustainable use of our natural environment and resources for future generations. And the way we do that is obviously through a variety of conservation strategies, protected areas, protected species management, conservation plans, etc. But we also use public education as a tool, and also we have the enforcement role. Right. And the National Conservation Act actually then sort of supplements that mission, and it says that the department, it actually says the director, but it means the department, has to administer the law, to enforce the law, to support the council in the fulfillment of their functions and their duties, and basically to do anything else that the government deems it fit that we do. So research and monitoring is obviously a key component of the work that we do. So I think that's been very important as we've grown, is that we actually have data collected here, analyzed by our own people, and that we understand what's going on.
Right. Wow. Very good. Lauren, let's go ahead and just speak with you for a minute here. Now, you're the manager for the Environmental Management Unit. What exactly does the EMU do? What does that unit do?
So we really focus on integrating consideration of the natural environment into decision making. So whether that's at a national level or a project level, or even we meet with individuals and help to encourage them to incorporate the natural environment into whatever they're doing. So in practice, that means that we do planning reviews, we do coastal works reviews, we look at architectural plans and proposals and provide advice for people to consider for how they can make their project better for the environment.
And I'm sure you work closely with that unit.
Yes.
As well as with
I
the
think
council.
this is actually a really important point that we get across, is that I've heard and I've seen, people talking about the director has said this and Gina said that. And I just want it to make it very clear that although the law and the law says the council can delegate to the director, and that council has delegated the consultation functions with other government entities under the law to me.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that I'm locked away in my office, dreaming up all of these reviews that people get at planning or coastal works or wherever.
Right.
Obviously, I draw on the range and breadth of expertise and knowledge that the people at the Department of Environment have. So when Loren's team takes the information and integrates that, as she mentions, into the consideration of the environment, into these decisions that other entities are making, that comes from every Tuesday morning. The team gets together in a situation where I chair the meeting. Loren is there with the agenda, and her team are all there with the applications and reviews that we're considering. And then we have the manager of the terrestrial unit. We have marine scientists there to help us. From time to time, we need to call in our enforcement team. So it's basically the information that we give to other entities is the best that we have from the DOE in aggregate. And it's an agreed position that we have arrived at by reviewing these applications,
So what you're telling me, Miss Gina Ebanks-Petrie, is you're not sitting in an office, you're not a one-woman show, you're not on a frolic of your own, and you're not looking at these applications going, oh, I know this person, I don't like them, we're not going to approve that. Or we're going to, make it really difficult for them to build this multi-million-dollar project because I just like being difficult. That's not what's going on here?
That is not what is going on.
I wanted to be crystal clear.
Very far from it.
Yes. All right. So you've got weekly meetings with members of your team. Everyone is giving their input, and then you make recommendations. I want to talk about in a little bit the nature of your recommendations and what the law says you can and cannot do. Because again, there seems to be this general, feel in the community that you are extremely powerful, that you can kill projects, and it's crazy. So we want to make sure that we understand exactly what your legal remit actually is. Say, for example, I have 10 acres of land, right? So my great granddaddy from East End decided to leave me some land, and I say to myself, right, I want to maybe develop that land. I'd like to put an apartment complex on it, maybe a commercial building. Is it possible for your department to come in once I've submitted a planning application to say, oh no, this should be a protected area? Does that?
No,
No,
there is a whole process that is set up in the National Conservation Act, including public consultation, that is required before we can, and let me just say, we cannot designate a protected area. That function in our law goes to the cabinet. So the cabinet has to create a protected areas order. But that doesn't happen until the public have nominated areas. The DOE, on behalf of the NCC, then sort of screens those nominations against criteria. So we look at the value, the ecological value of the area. We look at, the ease of management,
right,
the practicality of acquiring the land in question. The law also doesn't allow the council to appropriate land by compulsory acquisition. So if there's a really critically important, environmentally significant piece of land, we can't just buy it because that is the case. There has to be a willing seller. We have to negotiate, and we have to have the money to fund it. Which is why, going way back to 1997, we proposed the establishment of the Environmental Protection Fund. Because we knew, we've always known that to set up a protected system of protected areas on land, we would need money to buy land,
purchase it
at fair market value, so people don't feel they're being gypped, etc. So that was the whole rationale for the establishment of the Environmental Protection Fund way back in 1997.
Right. So you can't do compulsory acquisition.
No.
Of any of that property. That's so interesting. So by extension, if it's my private property, you can't come and tell me, well, this is protected property and you can't build on it, you can't do this, you can't do that.
No.
Huh.
No. No, we don't make any decisions in relation to building anyway. So let's take the Central Planning Authority, because that's where the majority of our consultations under Section 41 of the law come in, right? So when we get an application from the Central Planning Authority, in 97% of the cases that we've looked at, because we keep our data, right? We know how many applications we've looked at and reviewed for planning, for coastal works, for other entities.
Right.
97% of the time we are making recommendations.
Right.
Okay? And the rest of the time we are directing conditions of approval that we feel can mitigate the adverse impacts, which is what we are allowed to do under Section 41(5) of the law. In those very rare cases where we have directed refusal for an application, and the law allows us to do that only when we are looking at adverse impacts on a protected area or the critical habitat of a protected species, which can only be designated by way of a conservation plan that has gone out to public consultation and then up to cabinet.
So would this ever occur where I would be able to call you up and say, hey, Gina, I'm planning a project, I want to come and sit down with you personally. And then you're going to tell me, well, this isn't ever going to get approved because, there's insects that live in this area. And so therefore you can't build anything on it.
Right. No. It doesn't occur for two reasons. One is because the department has a policy that we don't meet individually with folks, because we recognize the risk and the exposure that we have. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we have our weekly meetings, and that's when we invite developers in. So they don't just get to sit with Gina, they sit with the whole team. So then the whole team gets to input. And we do regularly see developers before they apply for permission, because it makes the most sense to make our recommendations to them. If they're willing to listen, hopefully it will be a better project for them. It definitely will be more sustainable if they take our advice on board. And they'll have, less of a sort of a surprise at the end of their planning application if they'll know what we're going to say. So I don't know, Lorraine, if you want to add anything to that.
Two of the most common directions that get included are about protecting our marine protected areas. One being to stockpile materials away from the water's edge, because a lot of times the construction on these sites is so tight that people end up piling sand or even waste or gravels or debris right on the interface with the water, and then big waves come, it gets washed into the marine park and really impacts the marine environment. So we ask that developers don't stockpile right on the edge of the sea. They pull the stockpiles back. And then the other one is about styrofoam. So when people are shaving styrofoam or using materials that contain styrofoam, to make sure it doesn't get into the environment, because we've had so many complaints from the public about styrofoam getting into their pools or being found in the ocean, washing up along beaches. And so it's really hard to get out of the environment. And they persist, they don't degrade, they're there forever, basically. So we ask that instead of just shaving it and letting it blow everywhere, they use whatever measures they deem appropriate to contain it. So vacuums or screens. And both of those seem to me like really straightforward measures to protect our environment, while still developing, while still balancing. You can still build what you want, but make sure it doesn't impact the sea that's next to you.
Let's talk about the lawsuits that have been sort of challenging. And I understand that the challenge is very limited to section, is it 41?
Yeah. So section 41 of the law is the section of the law that is designed to allow the NCC to ensure that the environment is considered when national decision making is happening. And that really is the foundation for sustainability, right?
Okay.
Because typically the environment doesn't get considered in many decisions. And if it isn't, you can't then claim to be running a sustainability focused agenda nationally. It's just not possible. So the government of the day understood, I think, when they passed the legislation, that that's what was happening, that we were trying to provide an opportunity via Section 41 for these environmental concerns to be factored into national decision making. And what Section 41 does is place an obligation on any government entity. And I think that it's important for this distinction to be made, because it is not placing that obligation on members of the public. And that was deliberate to try to avoid having more bureaucracy from members of the public. And in any event, it is not members of the public who need to be factoring in the decision. Oh, they do, but not in this context.
Okay.
It is the Central Planning Authority or the National Roads Authority or any other government entity who are taking an action that could impact the environment or making a decision that could impact the environment, to ensure that the environment is considered when they make that decision. And that's really what Section 41 is about. So it says that normally, in the normal course of events, you are required as an entity to consult with the NCC before you make your decision or give your permit or give any kind of authorization for any action that could cause an adverse effect on the environment generally. In those cases, the NCC is restricted to providing advice. It then goes on to say, where an entity is contemplating an action that could have an adverse effect on a protected area or the critical habitat of a protected species, and we've just gone through what those
are, yes.
Right? So these are things that Cabinet has decided are worthy of protection. Obviously, the Council's decided, but also Cabinet has decided. And in those cases, the Council is then able to either direct the originating entity to put some conditions of approval on their decision that could mitigate the impacts that the Council is concerned about, or if the Council judges that there's nothing that could mitigate the impact of this proposed action, then the Council in that really narrow instance has the right to direct the originating entity not to approve that action.
And is that binding when you direct them?
That is binding.
Yes.
And that is the genesis of the lawsuits that you
The
were
legal
talking
challenge,
about earlier.
right.
The legal challenge.
And how many how many projects are we talking about? I'm sure planning gets thousands upon thousands of applications.
Do you have those stats around?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. How many have you actually directed them to not approve or,
Since 2016, we've
Yes.
reviewed 4,339 planning applications.
Mm-hmm.
And the NCC has directed refusal 9 times for 7 applications. So 7 projects.
And that was since 2016.
16. Mm-hmm.
That's when this part of the law came into effect.
Right.
Yes.
So in 7 years, you've only exercised that power, can we call it in the negatives? In other words, directed that a project not go forward. How many times?
9 times
Out
for
of-
7 applications.
So once we had this, we directed twice in relation to the
Into
same
the same-
application.
Yeah, 2 times we directed twice for the same
And that's out of
application.
over 4,000 applications that you looked at. So percentage-wise, that's what? Is that 1% even?
0.21%, less than a quarter of 1%.
Less than a quarter of 1% of
Wow.
the time.
And so I'm just trying to understand what you're telling me, because does that mean then that the CPA, the Central Planning Authority, felt so egregious about 0.2 whatever
2.1
that they would actually sue another government entity?
No, we took the court.
You took them to court. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Initially, we took the matter to court. The council took the matter to court.
Okay.
Because, as you mentioned earlier, Sandy, we were getting a lot of pushback about the fact that, that the council couldn't direct the Central Planning Authority, and B, that the council couldn't delegate that consultation function lawfully to the department, to the director and the Department of Environment. So there were a number of things that were that they just didn't accept. And when we directed the refusal for a project that was impacting the marine protected area on the West Bay Peninsula, to an extent that we felt that there weren't any actions that developer could take to mitigate the impacts that we were concerned about. So when we did that direction and they went and approved the application, we either had to...
Let me understand. So even when you give a direction, that's not binding?
No, the direction is legally binding.
Oh.
But the Central Planning Authority decided it wasn't.
Oh, I see.
And they approved the development.
Anyway.
So we took this to the NCC and we said, look, what do we do?
Right.
Here's something where we've directed refusal under our law. We think lawfully and thoughtfully, what are we going to do? Are we just going to accept it, or are we going to have the courts arbitrate this?
Right.
And we
because
felt,
once the precedent is set, then that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
And we felt it was really important that we test, like you say, that we test the interpretation of the law in the courts.
Okay.
And get that clarity from the courts.
Yes.
On A, is the direction lawful? B, can the NCC direct? Because there was a big discussion about that, and also whether they could delegate that consultation function to the director. And basically, the Grand Court ruling clarified those 3 things in favor of the NCC. The CPA then appealed that decision, and the Court of Appeal also clarified in favor of the NCC on those three critical matters. So
you've had 2 courts now. Were there reasonings? I must admit that I haven't really read the lawsuit, but were there reasonings more or less along the same lines of how they were interpreting the law? They came to the same conclusion, but did the reasonings kind of align as well?
Yes, I think that the way that I would describe the ruling, and it is a nuanced ruling. It's certainly the Court of Appeal ruling in some ways, but in many other ways, and in the important ways, it's very clear. But the nuanced ruling is that part of the way through the Grand Court trial, I think, it became very clear to both sides that the lawyers were interpreting the law slightly differently than we were interpreting the law. And when I say that specifically, what I mean is that the lawyers were interpreting the law in a way that the entity is required to consult with us under Section 41.3. If the council then says, and by the way, not only are you having an adverse effect on the environment, but this could impact a protected area in an adverse way. So to make that determination, we were interpreting it that we could sort of roll our advice up in one shot, one document. We could say, here's how it's impacting the environment generally, and here's how it's impacting the protected area. Therefore, we're making these recommendations in relation to the general environmental issues, and we're directing either these conditions of approval or refusal for this action. And we thought we could just send that all in one go to the entity. What became clear was that there is scope in the way that the law is written for the entity itself who's consulting to try to determine whether there is an impact on a protected area or the critical habitat of a protected species. And that can be based on the advice they get from us in a Section 41.3 consultation or their own knowledge. But that they're obligated to ask the council for permission in relation to the section or approval for the Section 41.4. So that is where you're dealing with a protected area or the critical habitat of a protected species. So it was a process issue that really that needed to be corrected. And both sides acknowledged that early on. And the ruling the Court of Appeal ruling has carried forward that understanding. So we're comfortable that that interpretation is the correct interpretation. And therefore, that is why we have gone to amend our guidance notes to make sure that this sort of two-step process is recognized in the guidance notes. But we are already trying to work on solutions to that would give hopefully the originating entity more comfort when they do consult with us. So if we, in the course of a 41.3 consultation, say, and we feel that based on all of these things that there's going to be an adverse effect in a protected area, we're letting you know this now. So hopefully and it won't add that much additional time then to the process.
The process, yes.
So that's kind of where we're going with this latest ruling. But as you know, the CPA have applied for permission to take it all the matter now to the Privy Council.
Very interesting. Wow. So, I mean, it's just so interesting to me that it's such a contentious point, given that the vast majority of applications would never even be impacted by it. But, I guess someone who's studied law, clarity is what people like. And, I'm a business owner. I think we all live in this community. And I always say this, that it's very, very important for people to know what they can expect. That certainty in law is very, very important. Certainty in doing business is very, very important. Because then otherwise everything would be a fly-by-night type of situation, and you definitely don't want that. It makes people uncomfortable if they don't know what the guidelines are and what the law says and how the process works and how it's all done. So we'll certainly see from a legal perspective if that goes any further. But I think we've taken in a lot today. I know that we could certainly go into a bit more detail, but for the benefit of our listeners, who I'm very, very aware are intelligent, but sometimes their attention span is what it is. So I think that we can sort of wrap things up now. I want to personally thank all of you for doing this, and perhaps we can do it again, and we can expand our knowledge and share that with, our listeners and the broader public, so that we just have a much better understanding of the legislation, of the process, of what the council does, of what your department and then the units within your department actually do as well. It was all very, very helpful information today. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I hope it does help.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.